Hey everyone, I'm excited to announce I have teamed up with First Form Nutrition. Andy Frisella, the owner, reached out to me during Hurricane Helene when I was in North Carolina and offered his assistance and to bring awareness. And now I am teamed up with them on their supplements. And there's some really good stuff like this peanut butter and jelly protein bar. This is a favorite of mine. These meat sticks, I like these because I can throw this in my backpack when I'm going out and doing missions or just in my truck. Protein powders are amazing, like this one, the clear. You can just throw it in your water bottle, shake it up, it's good to go. But what I really like about First Form Nutrition is the clean ingredients. It's not full of a bunch of junk, not a bunch of artificial stuff, soy-free. Protein powders are clean, the energy drinks are clean, really good nutrition stuff, creatines, all kinds of good stuff out there. So go check it out. We're gonna have a link for you below. Appreciate the support. I want to show you my new favorite supplement. It is magnesium, zinc, and vitamin C all in one. These ingredients are very, very clean. It's in a glass jar too. It's not a plastic bottle. I've been using this for about 3 weeks now, and I really like it. I do it about 3 times a day, but this is going to be going with me on missions when I go travel. That way I can stay healthy, avoid all the colds and flus and all the nasty things going on in airplanes and airports. But check it out. I got 2 codes for you. I got Thick 30A Broker and Howard 20. You'll save 20% on your next purchase. Thank you. Everyone, we are back. We are rebranding the John Howard Show, which honestly, I never really liked that name anyways. When I did my very first episode, I was like, I guess I'm just going to call this the John Howard Show because I didn't know what to call it back then. But Birdman is more fitting. Birdman was my nickname, call sign that my team gave to me because as a controller, I deal with all the aviation stuff. I'm also the pilot. And then during like the hurricane, when we had some downtime, I would show guys like my bird photography, and they were just like, "Are you for real? Like, are you really a bird photographer?" They're like, "I can't tell if you're lying or not." And after the hurricane was over, they were kind of put all kind of call signs, and then Birdman became my call sign. So you know what? I like that. Yeah, Riz said John Howard Show was gay, like I mentioned before. Yeah, always listen to Riz. And for those that are joining in on us, joining with us.
Pause.
Today is my 17th anniversary with Riz. So November 17th, 17.
Woo-hoo.
It's never going to happen again. So yeah, 17.
She's put up with you for 17 years.
17 years. And yeah, so it's great. And there's no better way to spend your 17th anniversary. There's no way to show your wife that you care more about it than to redo your podcast show that you haven't done since well, actually it was February, right, Randy? But then we didn't release that episode till June with John Rocker. So it was like,
yeah, we were debating. There was a lot of things moving around.
Yeah, and we were trying to space it out. It was also when he was doing that celebrity boxing match, so we were trying to figure it all out. So, but we've been trying to get this show going again. So I'm happy to have you on the new Birdman podcast, Christina, for a lot of reasons. One, you have literally given me like a brand new, it feels like I got a new body now. Like the injuries are gone from my stem cells. And you're also the first woman on the show. We've had others that have been trying to get, but just with schedules, it just never worked out. But I think this is going to be a good one because whenever I talk about stem cells, like on social media, everyone has so many questions. When I tell veterans, they're just like, I want to know more about stem cells. What's the difference between stem cells here in Florida and stem cells in Mexico, and just all kinds of things, which I know you get these questions all the time because I've been hanging out with you the last week and people literally ask those same exact questions. They want to know the science behind it. They want to know everything. Does it come from, a dead baby? And we're like, no, it does not come from a dead baby, which I'm glad you're going to be able to talk about like the umbilical cord, like how much one donated umbilical cord can do for so many people. But before we get into all that, also need to thank we got a sponsor. We have our first sponsor for the Birdman podcast already. Birdman Lawn Services. Birdman Lawn Services stood up big time. They wanted to be the first sponsor. So, they're all electric, pretty much all quiet services. I spoke to the owner earlier today. He's like, hey man, fully support you guys. So he was a big donator. And then also our John Howard art, which maybe we should change that to Birdman art now that I'm starting to think about it. But as you all know, yes, thank you, Randy. As you all know, all the proceeds go to charity like great local charities like Surf Brigade right here and all of our other charities and disasters, anybody we can help. Some of y'all don't know because I see the orders coming through the website. No one's ordering my pillows, but I got some awesome pillows that are actually made to be outdoors. So, and they're cheap, you know. So get you some pillows. You need a little beach tote bag. We got awesome little beach tote bags. You can put whatever you want in there.
And puzzles. The puzzles are good.
Actually, the puzzles have been selling pretty good. They caught on kind of late, but people are starting to get them. And then, as you can see, the shirt right here, you get the shirts, all kinds of cool stuff. And you will be helping out a lot of local charities or whenever there's a natural disaster or just a family that's in need. So please go do that. Last year we did $27,000, which that was basically my first year because I started at the very end of 23 and no one bought anything in 23 because I was so terrible at photography. But 24, it picked up a little bit. So, but enough about all of our amazing sponsors that, you know, have no affiliation with me at all. So that's all we got. So let's get into Christina. Like, Miracle Hope Foundation, we got all that, but let's go back to who you are. Where are you from? Let's hear that.
Well, born and raised in Las Vegas, so I usually get a lot of interesting looks in that. But no, I mean, it all started with my own back injury. So 2017, got in a car accident, was herniated my L5S1, was working out of a lawn chair in my living room, and was scheduled for surgery. And I had a couple crazy friends call me and say, push your surgery back, come to our cancer hospital in Tijuana. I'm like, okay, you want me to tell my family I'm going to go to a cancer hospital in Tijuana instead of having surgery when I'm miserable? They're like, yeah. And they said, what's the worst that'll happen? You'll have surgery in 2 more weeks. And I was like, you know, actually, you're right. And today, never had surgery. Fast forward, my actual primary career, most people don't realize I'm an actual financial planner. So this was not anything I saw on my bingo card, but, you know, make some plans and the Lord kind of laughs and makes his own. But yeah, so then 2021, I was the second back injection patient. So I had 20 million injected into my L5S1. And today my herniation is completely gone. And so, yeah, so I was really started my own journey. Last year, I got the honor of being the fastest injury to injection patient because I fell while I was at the hospital. If your viewers are lucky, we'll actually pull up the video and I'll let you see the video.
No.
We actually do have it on video.
Maybe we can cut that in later. I'd like to see that.
It's a good one. It's a really good one. A lot of people got some laughs out of that one. But so yeah, so I ended up getting 10 million into my right knee. I had a partially torn ACL, rehabbed that within 2.5 months. Disclaimer, because I was so close to injury, it heals a lot faster. There wasn't a lot of scar tissue or anything to do there. So that was my own journey through stem cells is kind of how we got here. And then 2022, really I should say the beginning of it was the cancer patients. They were getting, 2015, they started doing cancer and 95% of the patients that were calling couldn't afford to get there, couldn't afford the time. And I remember all of us, because 2 of the owners and I met in a leadership program. And during that leadership program, everybody in 1 week has to raise $2,500 each for a charity as a team. And once you've done that a couple times and all of a sudden you watch $100,000, $200,000 get raised in a week, you're like, oh my gosh, don't people realize if you just share your story and you just let them know, people want to help? And that was really the beginning of it, is just in that. And so I thought I was just the friend that was going to help them find a solution to help the cancer patients fundraise. And lo and behold, we get the nonprofit set up and the cancer program got put on hold while they were remodeling the hospital. So they started doing the remodel of the full hospital. It was supposed to be a 6-month remodel, turned into a 3-year full remodel. And so then here I am, and it was actually the last 2 months of my dad's life. So my dad was battling pancreatic cancer, and he was kind of starting his journey downhill. And we had another foundation reach out to us. It was actually the Infinite Hero Foundation, and said, hey, we have a 9/11 first responder who has pulmonary fibrosis. Well, anybody that knows my journey knows that my dad had pulmonary fibrosis before his lung transplant. And so when I said, well, wait a minute, you're going to tell me that I can prove that stem cells can help cure pulmonary fibrosis? And so I always say that's the moment the Lord hooked me. And so that veteran today, he's a veteran and our first responder. He's 2 years out, no evidence disease in his scans, back to running, back to fully living. So that's been a really, really cool journey to see him come back. And then that's when the Infinite Hero said, will you apply for our grant? And I started looking into the research and said, wow. I said, this community is really beaten up. This community really needs stem cells.
Yeah.
And that's really how we started, was just really looking at it. Because really, as you looked at it, I'm like, right now, the only answers are surgeries and pain pills. Fusing, and so looking at that. And so that's when we started on the journey of helping veterans and first responders.
Wow. Yeah. That they don't really give us a lot of options in the military VA community, especially like if you're active duty. The options are very limited to what they actually approve. And then even in the VA community, like whenever, other than back fusing and neck fusing, I haven't heard of really any other solution.
A couple Band-Aids. I mean, radio frequency ablation seems to work for some people for a couple years, but it seems like it works for about a year, and then it's like 9 months, 6 months, and then slowly stops working again.
Yeah. And if I had just had to assume, the reason why they don't want to give us stem cells is because it actually fixes the issues. And I can be a witness to that because it has healed me. Like I can actually go for a run now and I have no stiffness in my back. My knees don't hurt. I mean, I can go ride a horse without my back getting tight. I mean, I can, even just when me and Riz went back to CPI for our 6-month fall, just in 6 months, we walked the same route that we did 6 months prior. And it was just like, wow, I didn't even feel like nothing. I just walked. And there's just no tightness, no nothing. I sleep better. I feel better. So, I mean, it really is doing actual healing. And the MRIs actually, that's the proof. The MRIs show. It's not just like, well, I think I feel good. It's not like what they do, like those placebo studies with drugs. And they're like, oh, this one does nothing. But no, like the MRIs actually give the real proof.
Yeah, I finally got my first MRI last year because we weren't doing MRIs in the beginning. And I remember I kept going back to the radiologist and I'm like, what size is my herniation? What is my measurements? And we went round and round. And finally I realized they're like, what herniation? What are you talking about? And that's when I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, it's gone. Like I just kept thinking like they weren't measuring it right. It was, it's in Spanish. And so you're getting it translated. And I was like, and then this is funny. The doctor actually looked at me and he goes, there's no way you had that big of a herniation. And I was like, oh, let me pull up my original MRIs. And they were floored. My original MRIs was an 18 by 10 millimeter herniation. It's gone today.
Wow. So going back to Born Vegas, you didn't get into the stem cell thing until much later in life, and you already had a career, starting a nonprofit when you already have a successful career, which is great because as we've talked about a lot of times, people start nonprofits just as a way to basically start making money, start making a salary. You've already have your own business as a wealth advisor. But were you ever, I guess, like when you're earlier, high school, college, 20s, were you ever like looking into medical or stem cell treatments, or you didn't look into it until you hurt your back?
No, I was, like I said, started financial planning when I was 25. I've been doing that for 20 years. About 7 years ago, I started doing family relational coaching. So as I started noticing families as they're transitioning the wealth of the business between generations, they were basically stopped liking each other and destroy, nobody sets out to have a legacy to destroy their family. And that's really what was happening. So I was all excited and, really jumping into that. And it was really only through my own journey. I mean, if I hadn't have met, the owners of the hospital and they didn't convince me to come down when they were a cancer hospital. I mean, even back then I wasn't even really alternative. Like, I think I just maybe like someone had just gotten me into essential oils. Like I wasn't even eating organic. You know what I mean? So like, but that first time I went down there, they were Gerson certified hospitals. So I did like the Gerson, which is like 13 fresh pressed juices, and I'm doing hyperbarics and ozone injections and Myers cocktails and IV ozone. And I mean, I had no clue.
Yeah.
So it was really just, and then I was so grateful. I just kept going down. And then when they started doing stem cells in 21, they're like, basically reached out to a group of friends and said, hey, we're going to do a friends and family round. You guys want to come join us? And so my first, actually I did my IVs in February of 2021. It was me and Rafael Lovato, which is a very world champion jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But it was him, and then Tate Fletcher, who was another friend of theirs. And so all of us were down there. It was just a group of us. And so I did my IV, but they didn't have a surgeon yet to do the actual injections.
Oh.
So then fast forward, I'm trying to think 3 or 4 months later, they finally got the surgeon, and Scotty said, hey, the surgeon's here. I'm going to be traveling. Do you want to go first? I'm like, yep, nope. I was like, I'll let you go first. I'll be the second. Yeah. And then that was, but for me, at that point, I'd already shrunk my herniation from an 18/10 to a 12/7. I already got rid of all my sciatica pain. I had no physical, I was still bubble wrapping myself, so I wasn't really doing anything out of the norm. But, at that point, I was like, yeah, I mean, you guys have already given me my life back. I mean, in 2017, like that was the first time, like for me, like I was, you know, CrossFit and Olympic weightlifting, had all the fun Olympic weightlifting scores on the board, and I was snowboarding. I was a competitive speed skater, so like, back then going from like being very vital to all of a sudden, like I'm literally working out of a lawn chair in my living room. I can't wear heels. I couldn't even, I mean, the only reason I went virtual before it was cool to go virtual, because that experience taught me like, wait a minute, I only need a conference room to meet my clients once in a while. So I actually got rid of my office back then. But yeah, no, I had no experience. No, I wasn't in the alternative medicine field. I was a numbers girl. I mean, I'm still a numbers girl, but
That could be probably a whole nother episode too, just talking about financial advice. Because I mean, I know we spoke about it because I have a financial advisor. A lot of people come to me for financial advice, just for like how to get rid of taxes, finances. We can go down that rabbit hole later on. I don't want to focus on the stem cells though, but it's good to know that you also have another profession outside of stem cells. So
I always say it's my angel investor. It's my angel investor that allows me to go on this journey.
Exactly, and that's one thing. That's how I know someone really cares about what they're doing, because it's not about money for you. I mean, you lose money by lose money.
This is supposed to be like a side hustle, part-time gig that's turned into a holy smokes.
It almost seems like it's a full-time gig much as you work on it now.
Yeah, in the beginning I joked about, we'll just get it started and they'll hire a real executive director. So we're definitely getting very, very close to I need a real executive director.
Yeah. So the back injection, you were one of the first people.
I was the second. Scotty was the first.
Like ever in the world? Or
no. Just at the hospital, just
but that's
CPI.
Still a pretty new thing. Like they weren't doing this in the 90s or early 2000s.
No, so there's an current FDA trial that started in 2012 for a back injection of stem cells.
Okay.
Same type. So that one started in 2012. It's in phase 2, getting close to getting to phase 3. So that, that one, like I said, and that probably current will be like 2030 before it's approved.
Oh, wow.
Now that was before Kennedy and kind of, it becoming more of a conversation. So that could get pushed a little faster. Yeah. But you can just see also people don't realize how long it takes to go through an FDA trial. I mean, 2012 to 2030, I mean, that's an 18-year journey.
I think that it makes sense to me now, because I think you told me in Mexico that Mexico is 20 years ahead of the US when it comes to stem cells. And that makes perfect sense. So it's just all the red tape in America.
Yeah, I mean, Panama, Peru, Colombia, Japan, I mean, Germany. I mean, there's so many other countries that are so far ahead of the game than the US. But yeah, so there was so I said back injections. I know I don't know how much earlier than that it started, but I know that's the current FDA trial. So it was like 2012.
Yeah. And the back injections for me have been literally life-changing. Like I always tell everyone, I was always cracking my back. I'd be uncomfortable on long flights and car rides. I mean, just whatever. Just wearing my body armor, my plate carrier, my back would always get stiff. It got to the point to where I couldn't squat no more, because it didn't matter if I was just squatting the bar. My back would it felt like it would swell up, and I didn't know it because the VA only did x-rays on me when I got out, but I have bulging disc. And I'm like, well, that makes sense why everything hurts. And even sometimes if I didn't use my pillow in my bed, like if we went to a hotel, I'd always wake up with a
pillow under my legs, the right pillow under my neck.
Yeah. And I'm always just then I'm messed up for 3 days, or I have to go see the chiropractor, which I was seeing the chiropractor usually at least once a week. We good on the video, or did it mess up? But I have to go see the chiropractor at least once a week. And there was times I was even going twice a week.
Oh yeah, between massage, and that's what I tell people, because stem cell therapy is not cheap.
Yeah.
But also when I looked at the amount of money I was spending between chiropractors, physical therapy, between massages, red light therapy, everything I was doing to just try, and not even to fix it. It was just try not be in pain.
Yeah.
The amount of time and energy, I always tell people, you're going to get that back within a few years just by not having to put out all that money. You're trying to just and also just the amount of quality of life you'll get back. Because if you're not spending all this time focused on the pain, you can actually go do things.
Yeah.
You can actually, start another business. You know what I mean? Like there's so
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about what Miracle Hope does for the veterans, because obviously it is a lot of money, depending on how much you want to get done. If you want to get everything done like I did, or if you just want to go there and get like one thing done. But
let's caveat, do not be like John Howard. Do not get everything done at once.
Don't do it,
Do not be like John Howard. We'll come back to that.
They only let you do 5 injection sites, plus the IV bag of stem cells. Here, I'll tell you this. Honestly, my back, my neck, and my elbow, I no problem. I was a little stiff. I had to walk. I feel like I had to walk kind of cautiously for the first little bit. But getting both shoulders done, that was the worst decision ever. Because I was helpless. I couldn't use my arms for the first week. I don't know if I don't think I could even raise it up this high, but I remember for the first month, I could only do this. I couldn't raise my shoulders I couldn't like any kind of movements. It was bad. So if it would just been one shoulder, I could have just put it in a sling and had this arm to be good. But now I'm glad I got them both done. Because I think I'm in month 9, but yeah, you're right. Do not do what I did. It was awful.
And he was the worst, the absolute worst one I've ever had. Going to him after his procedure, it was like,
I'm a baby when it comes to pain. I am. I thought I was tough, but that was just I was ready to get off that merry-go-round the first 48 hours. I did not enjoy it. But now I'm healed up.
Yeah.
But let's tell everyone what Miracle Hope does for the veterans and first responders.
Yep.
So let's hear about it.
Yeah. So currently we provide up to 50% treatment scholarships. And that's basically a factor of income, how long you've served, what risk of injury, were you injured in duty? So you can get up to 50%. And then we support you the other 50%. So we have a full platform they'll create a fundraising page for you. We'll get a copywriter to copyright it for you. We give you a fundraising coach. We have a list of organizations that partner. We give you tips, strategies, and then we just continue to coach you and cheer you on to get to 100% if you need to. And that's basically how we help you get there 100%.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing that you can get the treatment paid for, because can we go into pricing a little bit?
Sure.
Like, let's say like if I want to get my back done, because that's what everyone always, how much is it? So if I just want to get my back disc injected, what is that roughly going to cost?
Pretty much you're looking at between $20,000 and $40,000. The only caveat I'll put in there is for autoimmune patients. Because we're getting a lot of very rare autoimmunes now. And sometimes they're a 2-week treatment. So we'll come back to that. So for most orthopedic, neck, back, shoulders, knees, elbows, toes, it's going to be between $20,000 and $35,000, depending on how many areas you need to do and how many stem cells that you need. So it can be any range from there, starting at 20 to 40.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's about right. Because I think my total treatment was like the mid 40,000 range. But I did a lot. I know Riz was a lot less than mine, because she did about half of what I did. But then she went back 6 months later to do her back, because she felt
her neck,
because she felt so good from her back and shoulder, and she's like, I should have done my neck too. But it was good to give her a little break in between.
Yeah, we get kind of both gamuts. We've had some come and do just their back, and then 6 months a year later come in and do both knees, and then 6 months a year later come and do both shoulders. Or neck and shoulders. And so everybody kind of spaces it out differently, or some people do exactly what we tell them not to do, and they do it all at once, and then they're miserable. Yeah, and they feel like a little baby monkey, beat them with a bat. And
then they also decide to go that weekend to Japan for a month-long vacation, thinking they're going to heal up in the hotel, and that's not what happened.
Yeah, I have to say that the most interesting part that you shared wasn't just going to Japan, was that you actually said, like, I don't know if I could have protected Riz in the street if someone attacked us, because your shoulders, you didn't have any mobility in your shoulders.
Yeah. I couldn't put my carry-on in the overhead. I had to ask like the little Japanese stewardess who's like 80 pounds. She'd look at me like, and I was like, I got a shoulder injury. And she's like, oh, okay. Like, and it was my camera bag too. So I had all the camera equipment in there. But.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing to touch on too, is most people don't realize, like, it is a major procedure. Like, everybody thinks like, oh, it's just a few injections, I'm going to go home. But we get the gamut from are super responders who in 30 days, they're like, oh my gosh, things are so great. I got no pain. But we got to like push them down to be like, hey, 90 days, no wait. I was actually speaking to one of our first responders today, and he was like, oh man, I felt great at 30 days when they started doing things. And he's like, I know I wasn't supposed to. Well, now he's flared up, kind of do that. But then I've had a couple guys that were supposed to be, 4 disc fusions. He's had, double hip replacements and a lot of stuff going on. Well, he was like a 5 months that it took his recovery. And then all of a sudden one day, everything's just gone. So, I mean, it varies in range because, it's going and actually repairing the tissue, the disc, the damage, the inflammation. And so people don't realize it is like a major surgery where you're recovery, and so you're going to be on a minimum protocol, no alcohol, no inflammatories. And so you really are spending the 90 days letting your body heal. And I always tell, my stubborn ones that, it took you a lot longer than 90 days to get hurt. Give yourself the 90 days to repair it.
I mean, me and Riz, we follow the protocol 90 days prior, no alcohol, like very minimal sugar. We weren't like doing any kind of like desserts or anything like that. And then after you get the stem cells, 90 days, no alcohol, no sugar, no weightlifting. That was really hard for me. But honestly, I tell people I couldn't weightlift if I wanted to. I think around week 3, I would go into like the hotel gym and do like some stretching, like very like cautiously stretching. Cause I still couldn't move very like strong, but I mean, I couldn't have lifted weights if I wanted to, but I mean, we
physical
basically,
therapy is really with it. Once the pain subsides, physical therapy, but it's not the normal physical therapy of like, how fast can we get you back?
yeah,
It's how do you get your body and all the friction and overcompensation you've done? How do you get yourself, you want to get yourself back into position so the healing actually can happen? Because especially when it's been a knee and you've been overcompensating for so long, like your hips are going to be out of place. Everything's going to be out of whack. And so it's really getting your body back in position as it heals.
yeah. And it's good to get that downtime because I mean, we probably really didn't drink alcohol for like a whole year. With that 3 months prior, 3 months after, and then we still didn't drink. So I remember they were saying like 90 days is like the minimum, but they're like, we really don't want you guys drinking for like a year.
Yeah.
So it was just a nice way to kind of like reset the body and heal. And I mean, like now I'm really starting to feel the results of it, and it's great. It's amazing. I mean, it's literally life changing.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things we notice, especially with our servicemen and women, is it's giving yourself that time to also start like noticing your body and where the pain is and what's going on, and reestablishing that the connection. Because for so long it hurts, and so you just mask it, and so it's really allowing your body to actually like go, oh, okay, what am I feeling? What's going on? What's hurting?
So for audience, first responders, veterans, if they want to go do this, they just go to miraclehope.com. They can go
miraclehopefoundation.org.
miraclehopefoundation.org, and they can go in there and just
go to under our impact, under Heal Our Heroes. You'll see our application section. It'll give you some information. Then you can apply right there. You'll do your initial application, do the verification, and then our veteran advocate will give you a call. You'll do an initial call with him. He'll go through all of, the requirements of what it is. We are doing a study. So we do ask, and so there is a lot of questions in there that we're going through. There's a lot of unique things with our first responders and our veterans. So we're actually collecting a lot of that data. But we do require you come to your 6-month and your 12-month follow-up. To where we do follow-up MRIs, and we're actually able to benchmark the progress and the data. So you'll get a call with the veteran advocate, and then you'll do another detailed questionnaire. And then if you have not been qualified with CPI, we'll actually set you up with CPI with them directly, and you'll go through their process to get medically qualified with their doctors. And then you go to scholarship committee, and
nice.
That's the journey.
And for me, it was a very fast, like I applied. I think I spoke to Drew the next day, and then you called me, and then me and Riz were getting our stem cells like I think 2 months later. So it's a quick path to get there as long as you want to get to it pretty quickly. I know other people that have applied to it. I mean, it's not like it's a 1 year long wait process. Like it's
Yeah,
pretty
I mean, it
quick.
just also depends on the hospital because I
Yeah.
mean, the hospital like right now, I think they're about a 2 month wait.
Oh, are they?
So it
Yeah.
really, yeah, because they'll ebb and flow throughout seasons.
Hmm.
But yeah, so right now they're pretty booked through the end of the year. So yeah, the biggest part of it is going through the requirements, going through the scholarship process, and then also how long out, because they only do a certain amount of neck and back procedures
Got it.
per week.
Yeah.
And or so in there, so it just depends on when their next availability is.
You know what? Let me hit on the hospital real quick
Hmm.
because the biggest question I always get is, it's in Tijuana. Is it like is it a hospital? Is it clean? Is it safe? How is it? The hospital is amazing.
Hmm.
Actually, it has a ocean view
Hmm.
from the second and third floor up, where you sit in nice chairs while you get all your IVs.
Hmm.
But all the doctors there are super professional, very well trained. They all speak English. Everyone I spoke to speaks English. They speak Spanish.
Hmm.
I mean, like they're real doctors. A lot of people just think it's like some dude in a garage
Mm-mm.
with like a syringe injecting stem cells, but it's a real hospital. Like for the back and neck, you get put under anesthesia. I mean, you're hooked up to monitors. They're checking on you constantly. So it's like you went to an American hospital. Honestly, I would say even better,
Hmm.
especially on the food side, because the food is delicious there, and they're not feeding junk food either because they're actually a healing hospital. And like
Hmm.
when I went back the second time for my 6 month follow up, they asked for my special diet request, and I
Hmm.
said I'm on a carnivore diet, and it was amazing. I mean, I
Hmm.
was just eating like flank steak and eggs and avocado and fruit, and like and the food was I look forward to
Yeah.
eating there. I've never went to a hospital in America where I'm like I can't wait to eat the food in the tray. Like it's just garbage. And usually what they serve you is like, man, I've had better like in my high school growing up. It's just not good food. So for everyone wondering,
I would say shout out to Chef. Chef does an amazing job.
chef's great, but
Everything's organic. Their fresh pressed orange juice is to
oh,
die
the orange
for.
juice
Oh,
is the best.
the
I don't
breakfast pancakes are also my favorite.
I have
Those
not
ones are
had
good.
those, but I did break the carnivore diet a little bit when I was there. You saw that. There's a bakery across the street, and I went over there. And they actually, you get this like metal circle tray, and you get like a tong, and you literally just walk around the bakery putting whatever you want on it. I shared it to everyone, so I didn't eat it all. Randy,
Hmm.
stop looking at me like that. Don't judge me. But I broke the carnivore diet maybe twice, maybe 3 times on. I forgot. I had some
You're not really
desserts.
supposed to have a lot of sugar that week,
Yeah,
but you know.
because also when you're there, so you eat breakfast at the hotel, you eat lunch there at the hospital. If you're staying overnight from the procedure, you'll have breakfast and dinner there. But if not, you go to these really nice
Hmm.
restaurants in Tijuana, and the restaurants are literally like Michelin quality
Hmm.
food. It is just incredible.
It's the one thing most people are so like they don't realize like the food there is just spectacular. I mean, I'm from Vegas. We have great restaurants in
Yeah.
Vegas. I travel quite a bit, but there are restaurants there and the service. Like sometimes it's too good where I'm like, hey, I literally haven't even touched this fork. I mean, I can use it.
Your glass of water will never drop more than that. I
Yep.
mean, those people, they are on it. Like they just stand there
Yeah.
waiting to serve everything. And you walk from your nice hotel over, and I'll
Mhm.
just go the whole procedure. So you fly to San Diego, you stay the night at the hotel
Mhm.
there on the bay. The next
Sheridan.
morning they
Mhm.
pick you up, they bus you over. You're there at the hospital probably 45 minutes, 30, 45 minutes, very quick procedure. And then from there, let's talk about the whole week of healing. Is it always a week of healing?
Yeah, so it's always a week unless you're autoimmune. Some
Okay.
autoimmunes will go two.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're always going to arrive. They're going to pick you up, from San Diego in their Sprinter vans, bring you over. You then get straight to the hospital. They're going to do their blood work. Everybody gets blood work, so
Yep.
you are fasted on the way over. You get blood work. Most people also don't realize because they were a cancer hospital first, they do a heavy diagnostic. And so you're doing full blood work. You're doing all your MRIs fresh because most of the procedures are ultrasound guided based
Mhm.
on your MRIs. They're doing EKGs, they're doing lung x rays to clear you for the hyperbarics. So you're getting a full round of diagnostics. And sadly, a lot of things pop up. I mean, often we get men whose PSA levels are up, and so they'll have to get an ultrasound on it, or something will happen. Sadly, we actually had one of our first responders come down a few weeks back, and he was there just for lungs. He was a Hurricane Helene, and so he had a lot of this bronchitis that kept coming back, and so he was down there for his lungs. And in his CT scan, they found a 29 millimeter tumor in his neck. Thank the Lord Jesus. That was a rough week, but we ended up, luckily, because they are a full hospital, we were able to biopsy it that week, and it was benign. And luckily, he was still able to get cleared to get his stem cells in there. So yeah, most people don't realize it is a full-fledged hospital. The stem cell lab is on site. So everything's getting cultivated right there on site. They're doing that. Also, it's now they're starting to, because they had shut down for the remodel, and now they're bringing back the cancer program, but they have the world's most state-of-the-art genomics lab on site. So they're doing DNA testing now. They have actually probably the most advanced DNA testing right now that they're doing. On the cancer side, they're doing dendritic cell vaccines. They're just doing some incredible things. And so the whole 6th floor is just one of the most world's advanced genomics labs.
Yeah, it is pretty cool to go there and like actually see like the whole like laboratory or where they're doing all that. I mean, it's a real hospital.
Yeah, and I get that question a lot of like, why a week? And it's like, well, first they're doing the diagnostics, you're getting the MRIs, you're meeting with the doctor.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday and Thursday are the actual procedure days where you're either getting your stem cells directly injected via IV or going through the actual full neck or back procedure. Also throughout the week, you're doing hyperbaric chambers. They've got a 8-person, looks like, a little submarine, you know what I mean, that you go in.
For people that don't know what that is, it's just a dive chamber. If you're familiar with that, you just get in the little dive chamber. It brings you down, I think, to like 40 feet, 60 feet, something like that.
2 atmospheres.
2 atmospheres. You go down, and it makes the stem cells work harder. What's it do actually? What's the science behind that?
Well, I mean, there's so much for hyperbarics. I mean, one from wound healing, brain. I'd have to get Sergio's geeky. I have a lot of videos of Sergio. But with the stem cells, so hyperbaric and stem cells, it actually allows the stem cells to assimilate faster.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, because I know my chiropractor here had a traumatic brain injury from a car crash, and his short-term memory literally just like it disappeared. And he told me he had to do about, I think it was about 60 dive chamber treatments, but it literally fixed his traumatic brain injury. And he hasn't had any, and that was like 20 years ago, and he hasn't had any issues from it yet. So the dive chamber, the barometric chamber it's a really positive thing, but like.
Yeah, and they originally, had the chamber there since the beginning for the cancer patients. Because even for the cancer patients, it really helps. I mean, there's so many with hyperbarics. Most people don't realize that like has so much great, ability to heal. But you're also going to do your IV therapies. So they do IV ozone, where they actually take out like 60 cc's of blood, put it back in a saline bag, add the ozone, and then bring it back into the body, which it creates its own like antiviral to go back in the body and clean the blood. Myers cocktails, which theirs, I always say, is a little extra because every time their vitamin C hits, I'm like, oh, it's like high quality vitamin C.
Riz and I always say we feel so good like 3 days after that Myers cocktail. You just feel alert, energy. It's amazing.
And then the NAD. So you do, that week they'll do a loading dose the first day, and then you'll continue to do regular doses throughout the week. So they're preparing the body. So one, heavy diagnostics, make sure it's safe for you to get stem cells, preparing the body. You're actually getting the stem cells. And then after the stem cells, you're still doing the hyperbarics and the IVs to get you prepared for the healing journey.
I love the NAD. I never had it until I was down there. But the one thing I actually noticed was how hard I would sleep. Like I would just like wake up and I would just be like, wow, I feel so refreshed. Like the NAD was good. So that's
why it's the eyesight. Like I start noticing my eyesight gets better.
Really?
And so I can tell when I need NAD because I try to get one at least once a month.
Okay.
And I can start to tell my eyesight will just not be quite as crisp.
Interesting. But that's what I was telling people when Riz and I went down there. It's not just you go there, you get a stem cell shot in your back and your neck, and you walk out and leave. Like I say, it's like a whole week of resetting, healing. Like you talked about the blood ozone treatment. You're doing the blood ozone treatment. You're doing the Myers cocktail. You're doing the NAD plus.
Oh, PMF therapy.
PMF therapy. You want to explain what that is? People probably don't know what that is.
Yeah. So PMF therapy is pulse electromagnetic field therapy. So when the actual pulse happens, it sends a signal to the brain to open up those cells to become more available to what it needs and push out what it doesn't need. So it's actually detoxifying at the cellular level. So that with stem cells, I always say hyperbarics, PMF, and stem cells are like the trifecta wonder. But PMF therapy, it actually will help with range of motion, bone healing, wound healing. The VA is actually, I believe, getting close to approving it for wound healing for bed sores.
Yeah.
So, of course, they want to get people out of the bed faster. But also there's bone healing, wound healing, range of motion, inflammation, pain. Like I personally bought one, gosh, I don't know, probably a year and a half ago. And I do normally travel with it. Howard made me fly it home, made me ship it home.
We were loaded up on the plane. There was 4 of us in the plane coming back from Naples. And just so everyone knows, this was not planned.
No, they kidnapped me.
We asked Christina last minute to come down to Naples for the Waterfront Warriors nonprofit that we volunteer with every November. And as we were down there, I forget, we were just talking. I was just like, oh, you don't have any, like, you don't have to go back right now. Like, why don't you just fly back to Panhandle with us? And then you came back here. And then I was like, you know what? We should get on the podcast. Let's talk about the stem cells, because every time someone sees me at the gym, they're, how are you feeling? Even my 2 boys today at the gas station, I hadn't seen them a bit. They're like, how are you feeling? Like, you back to working out? I'm like, man, like I'm feeling good. And I'm right now in that like 9-month window where the stem cells are really starting to kick in. And I'm just like, I'm still trying to take it cautiously. Like, I don't want to just go load up bench press. But like, I mean, I am feeling...
Like your one tall friend that I saw doing some really crazy dumbbells recently.
Who's that tall guy? Charlie?
Yeah, that tall guy, yeah.
That guy, yeah. Yeah, as he literally just got to me about playing golf like a few weeks before that. And now he's doing dumbbell presses. I'm like, come on, Charlie.
No.
But yeah, so it's a whole week of healing, getting the body set. It's just, it is just an absolutely amazing experience. But the cancer side is super interesting to me too, because it just goes to show how far ahead Mexico is in other countries in medical research compared to us. Like, one thing that really, I remember the guy was telling us there at CPI was they were the Apatone, which is just high dose vitamin C, and is it vitamin D3?
K3.
K3.
So 100-to-1 ratio of vitamin C to K3.
Yeah, and you can't really buy that in America, right?
No, I mean, I hear rumors that like you can get it for like $25,000 in the US, something crazy. But they started doing that. All the cancer patients would do it via IV. And so then they found a way to then actually put it into a pill form. So I personally, take one almost every day, but I always, it's in the freezer, so I forget every now and then.
Same.
But it's really meant for, so even when my dad was going through his pancreatic cancer journey, it was really frustrating for me because I've got these friends who have this renowned hospital, but my dad, because he had a lung transplant, was immune compromised. And so for him to go down there, he had a risk rejecting his lung. But I did put him on the Apatone. And I remember oh my gosh, I fought with his oncologist at one of the very well-known California hospitals, fought with him. But because what had happened is they would do chemo, his platelets would drop like crazy. Well, then in between the rounds of chemo, I would load him up on Apatone. I was actually given also grass-fed beef platelets, grass-fed beef pancreas, because basically he started getting a little bit of a cough. I put him on grass-fed beef lung, the cough went away. I put him on grass-fed beef pancreas when he was having trouble starting to digest his food. He was able to start digesting food better. So between that and the Apatone and the grass-fed beef platelets, it was the one thing that would get his platelet count back up and get it. And remember, finally, the oncologist was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, so I told him that it took me 3 rounds to finally convince him to let him to actually do the Apatone while he did the chemo. Because there's studies out there that show it'll actually make the chemo 30% more effective.
Oh.
So his 4th round of chemo was finally the one, and it was the only round he'd ever did where his platelets didn't drop. It didn't tank afterwards.
Oh, wow.
And of course, by that point, it was, we're getting a little late in the journey. But I remember his oncologist at that point looked at me and he's like, whatever you're doing is doing better than I can do. He's like, keep going, do whatever, do whatever on there. But yeah, originally my dad was, when I looked at, there's calculators, you can put comorbidities and all that stuff in. And he was about 3 to 4 months was his original estimated, we got him 14 months and 12 of those 14 months were great. It wasn't until the last few months where he started kind of getting the stomach filling up with fluid and getting it drained and stuff. But I mean, by this point, after my dad had pulmonary fibrosis, was on a lung transplant, oxygen full time, and then gets a lung transplant at the beginning of COVID, which that was even funnier. I'm like literally visiting my dad, like right at the beginning of COVID in the hospital. and doing that. But yeah, he was a poster child for transplants, and got 2 great years. Got to dance with mom again,
Oh,
and
nice.
yeah, and then damn cancer.
Wow. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, that they were saying they can treat, or if you take the apotone
Hmm.
and it comes across like a cancer, whatever, a
Hmm.
cell in your bloodstream, it'll literally like attack it and kill it. And I'm just like, why aren't we using that in America?
Hmm.
All it is high dose vitamin C.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of orange juice,
Yeah.
basically, in a little pill
Yeah, it's the
form.
K3 though that actually allows your body to assimilate that level of vitamin C.
Yeah, like absorb it, right?
Let's
Yeah.
absorb it. Yep,
Yeah,
I'm
like
doing that.
it's just shocking me that something that simple
Hmm.
isn't being like implemented here,
Hmm.
you know? And how long have they been doing stem cells with cancer treatments?
No. So they're separate. So
Oh,
if you've had active cancer in the last
yeah.
5 years, you actually cannot do stem cells.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
it's one or the other.
Okay.
So either, and for them, because right now there's still not enough information out to
Mhm.
know, will the stem cells replicate healthy cells or unhealthy cells? So
Gotcha.
they just, because they're a cancer hospital first, they're always going to be on a safety side first.
Yeah,
So yeah, so if there's active cancer, and then it's 5 years, you have to be in remission, to get stem cells.
gotcha. So, yeah, there's no so the cancer treatment is just more of like whole foods, holistic type approaches and stuff
Um,
like that?
Before the hospital remodel, it was a full Gearson certified hospital, where was, the 13 fresh pressed juices, coffee enemas, and then a lot of the immunotherapies. So the vitamin C K3. I can't even remember half the other ones they were doing. So now we're still kind of like waiting. We've done a few. We've had a few patients where they're biopsying the tumors,
Mhm.
and they're able to. And I'm going to butcher this because I'm not from the medical field, but they'll actually take and biopsy the tumor, and then like basically separate out the healthy cells. But they're able to test therapies on the biopsy,
Hmm.
so that way they know what the body is responding to. Because most people don't realize, when you're doing chemos and you're doing therapies, you don't know if it's going to work. I mean, it's kind of like, is your body going to respond, or is your body not going to respond? And so a lot of times the actual chemo is killing the immune system over the cancer. And if you actually, a lot of friends, you ask a lot of people, a lot of times like an organ will go septic or something will happen, versus always time directly related to,
Mhm.
because it's just so hard on the body. So now they're able to actually test therapies against the actual, the biopsy of the tumor, to see what is the body responding to before they actually put it back in the body.
Oh, wow.
Which, I mean, just that type of stuff. And that's probably one of the coolest things there, is they've actually got not only the doctors but the scientists in the lab there, so they're able to actually real time be able to, what they call, bench side to bedside.
Yeah.
Where a lot of places they're siloed, and so they can't actually like test that easily.
Mhm.
Which, yeah, I mean, every time I can't even keep up, because every time I'm talking to them, there's something new and cool they're able to do. But they're just doing some incredible things. So yeah, so I can't really tell you exactly what it is right now, because they're doing so much different type of things, where it's not just the traditional immunotherapies. They're actually utilizing more like the diagnostic side in the lab, to be able to test and biopsy and do live testing
Mhm.
before they put the actual treatments back into the
Got it.
body.
Okay. Let's move on to the where the stem cells come from,
Hmm.
because I actually remember as a kid when stem cells, I guess, were probably coming out. My church actually preached against it, and
Hmm.
they said that they basically had to kill, like aborting a baby to get stem cells, and they actually like did a whole church service about it. And I've got that message from a lot of people, like on my social media,
Hmm.
like when I was posting stem cells, and they're like, "Hey, like I'm not trying to be like disrespectful or rude, but they're
Hmm.
like, did you get stem cells from like an aborted baby?" And I'm like, "No, not at all. Like I wouldn't have done it if that's what it was." But let's talk about like where it
Hmm.
comes from and like how much they can treat with like where it comes
Hmm.
from.
Yeah, so they've majority of the time they've used one umbilical cord from a unvaccinated healthy mother, healthy born baby. They've barely scratched in like 4,000 patients this umbilical cord, which still is mind blowing to me,
Yeah.
to do that. So what they call it a line. So that's what they call it in the medical terms. So they just introduced, I think about a year ago, 2 more lines. because they're collecting the data. So most people don't realize they're following the exact same protocol as the current FDA trial. So that way, that's why we ask patients to come back at 6 months and 12 months, is because they're collecting the data. So as soon as that FDA trial gets approved, now they've got an entire study of shoulders, knees, back, and doing that. So they've pretty much, they introduced the 2 extra lines because for study purposes, just to, make sure it wasn't, I call it the unicorn umbilical cord. But yeah, that original umbilical cord was probably 3 years. And I mean, mind you, they're doing 40 patients per week. Most patients on average get 150 million stem cells times 4,000 patients. And it was like barely scratched 1 umbilical cord.
Wow. I mean, it's amazing.
It's
amazing. It's kind of hard to even like just think about, like, you can
Mhm.
treat that many thousands of people with barely even 1 umbilical cord. So
Mhm.
it's not coming. So we're not aborting thousands of babies or body parts or
None.
none. This is not
These
even a
are
thing.
healthy,
Yeah.
healthy mothers, unvaccinated, that are very healthy. The first one, I think she was a 24-year-old, mother,
Mhm.
and doing that. So yeah, so they're actually, utilizing just the umbilical cord.
That's what I get all the time, though. But I tell people, I'm like, no, like that's not
Hmm.
that's not what's going on. And I
Hmm.
don't know how like my church even got that so messed up.
Well, I mean, that's what
But
people don't realize, though. There are a lot of stem cells. You can use your own. I'm like, mine are old. I don't want my old ass stem cells. You know what I mean? Like, but you can use your own. I mean, they do come from stem cells. I mean, there's plant stem cells.
oh, I didn't know that.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's certain like face products out there that come from plant stem cells. So they come in lots of different, ways. People just don't realize that yes, there are ways to do them off of, but these are strictly umbilical cord stem cells.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to even just think about how you get that many stem cells. So let's talk about this a little bit. Because I know we discussed it a little bit on the off camera, but like in America, if I get like 10 million stem cells, let's say in my knee, sometimes it's not really 10 million stem cells or something.
I don't even know if you can get 10 million in America. So
Yeah.
I believe it's closer to like 1 million. And I don't keep up a lot on the American side. But from what I do know from some of the doctors at the hospital and stuff, what they tell me is there's no regulation right now.
Yeah.
So right now in the US, they can tell you you're getting 1 million, but they only actually, I think, have to have like 30% of that actually be mesenchymal stem cells or actually be certain stem cells. So there's not a regulation. There's no one who's actually been able to say like, yes, there's this many stem cells or yes, what it is. But right now you can't expand stem cells in the US.
Oh, you can't.
You cannot.
Okay.
So that's part of the difference as well. So right now in Mexico, and hopefully I don't butcher this, but it's hypoxic expanded mesenchymal stem cells. So they're able to actually expand them where you can't do that at all in the US. And so that's where the difference is that right now the US, you're not allowed to expand them at all.
Expand, does that mean like multiply them,
Mhm.
like recreate more stem
Mhm.
cells? And that's why you can do 1 umbilical cord and just keep
Mhm.
expanding,
Yep.
expanding,
Yeah, that's why
expanding.
they've barely touched it, is
Yeah.
because they're
In
actually,
America, you couldn't do that. So
you can't.
you have
Yeah.
to get a bunch of umbilical cords. Yeah. Because I remember looking up before, I want to say like the max you could ever do in stem cells in America was like 20 million, like for your
I
whole
think it's like a
body or something,
million.
or a
No, I think it's like a
million.
million.
And
I have to look it up.
remind me what I had done.
I believe you had almost, I think you did close to 220.
220
I think you
million.
did about 220.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember, because you were supposed to also do your knees
Yeah.
and your other body part.
Yeah. Yeah.
That we convinced you to wait until 6 months, and you were very thankful.
Mm.
Um,
You know what? I wasn't even going to bring that. I totally forgot about it. Sorry. We'll get to that point next.
Okay, we'll come back to that
We'll
one.
get to that point next. That's going to be a fun one to talk about. But yeah, so like 1 million stem cells in America versus 220 million stem
Mhm.
cells, the healing difference, you're going to notice something big. I mean, like massive. I mean, I want to say in each one of my back disc, I think it was like 10 million per
Yeah, so
disc or
your
something.
neck and back, you probably have between 80 and 90 million just in your neck and back.
Yeah.
And then usually shoulders are 10 to 20 million each, the
Mhm.
elbows 10 to 20, and then the remainder in an IV.
Yeah, so I couldn't imagine if I did it in America and I only got 1 million like
Mhm.
total. or something, or just 1 million in one spot, it's probably, I mean, it's going to probably be very noticeable.
And I've had a few people do it in the US, and from what I hear, like they get results, but they're kind of like when you're doing radio frequency ablation, you're only getting about a year and a half.
Yeah.
So it's not that they're not supporting, but they're not at the, I believe they're not at the level where it's actually healing and regenerating. It's kind of like almost like a PRP where it's giving you like that a year and a half. Now I've heard some places doing some underground stuff, but legally,
Yeah.
Most everybody that I've gotten feedback from says, yeah, it gave me about a year. And then I started having, started feeling the pain again.
And not all stem cell clinics are the same. And I think if I remember there at CPI, they were saying they actually, one of the things they're really good at, I think they were the only clinic doing this, is they inject the stem cells like with a jelly to hold them in place, like in your back disc. It's like a jelly that like helps feed the stem cells for the next year or something like that. Am I right on that? Wrong?
Honestly, I'm the crazy friend that I'm their guinea pig. And so I don't usually ask a lot of questions, and do that. So I'd have to get specific on that. But they do, I can't remember what it's called, but they do something to help hold it in place.
Yeah.
So when they actually go into the disc, they're using something so it actually holds in place there to keep it there.
That's what they were kind of explaining.
But I can't remember if it's called Wharton's jelly or if it's called
I remember they were explaining
something.
like they basically put it to where that's why they're having good success with like healing the back and neck, compared to if they just hook you up with an IV bag of stem cells and the stem cells go wherever.
And they're now doing so many that they're learning. So like when I did mine, I originally did 20 million into my L5S1. Well, if I would have came in with my MRI today, they're going to do 10 million in my L5S1. They're going to do 10 million in each side joint. They're going to do all my facet joints and the muscles around the back. So just they've come that far where in the very beginning, it's like, okay, let's try a disc. Which I got great results, but I did go back this last January and had him do all my facet joints, my SI joints, and the areas around it. Because while my herniation was gone, I still had a lot of dehydration and inflammation around in there. And the SI joints, I think for me, I noticed a huge difference after that round because I got so much more mobility and just flexibility that I didn't realize I hadn't had. The pain was gone, the herniation was gone, but the SI joints were definitely I think a differentiator. So that's the thing, is they're just constantly changing. There's so many unintended, there was one patient, I can't remember what the actual metric was of his heart, but whatever that measurement was, it's supposed to be at a 65. His was at a 38. So he did 200 million stem cells via IV. 3 months later came and did 100 million, and 3 months later came and did another 100 million. That marker on his heart is now back up to 58 and almost back to normal. And those kind of stories were their heart surgeons what are you doing? I don't even know what you're doing. And so the autoimmune ones have been really cool. We had a SWAT officer out of Santa Monica who had a crazy autoimmune that would just completely freeze his whole body and put him down. Pretty much 3 months after I don't think he's had a flare up since his 3-month treatment. Rheumatoid arthritis, getting some great with rheumatoid arthritis. They're just getting some really incredible things we had one guy with Tourette's and the Tourette's went away. Now that was never planned. We don't know how it happened.
Tourette's went away?
His Tourette's went away. They grew a thumb once in the early days, so there's all these unintended things that that's not why the person was there.
Yeah.
And then there's these other, things that are happening, but a lot of really great. We had one of our early veterans who, when he came back I think he had to do 3 deployments back to back. So when he came back, he'd missed a couple rounds of his vaccine schedule. And so they made him do 27 in one sitting. And ever since then, he had this pancreatitis that would flare up. And he would just end up in the hospital, I think, every other month. And it would just take him down. So he basically came for stem cells just for that. And he hasn't had a single flare up since.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with stem cells. And you told me a little bit about it when we were down there, but they're actually even starting to explore stem cells for fertility too, right?
Yeah, they're not doing direct. Obviously via IV. I always say that half go to the lungs and the rest go play Pac-Man in the body. But there are some early research studies where they're actually injecting them into the what do we call for men? Into the scrotums, you know what I mean, in the balls.
Oh.
So they're actually injected into there.
Yeah.
That are helping with fertility for women, going right into their their ovaries and stuff. And so they're getting some some new stuff. I mean, even I think it's Peru that's going directly into the heart.
Oh, wow.
So they're direct, so now they're starting to direct directly into the pancreas, directly into the liver. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool to see, like, just even in these 4 years, how much it's coming along. But I can't even imagine where we're going to be in another 5 to 10 years.
And the U.S. is not even anywhere close to doing something like that. Not like direct in the heart.
From what I hear, one of the hospital owners has been, he spoke at the Kennedy's Maha dinner, and he's been on some of the Maha panels, and and so he's really been in a lot of conversations. And from what I hear is right now, the biggest thing is, how do they actually make sure whatever someone's telling you the reaction, how do you test it? Like down at CPI, their lab is on site. So like pretty much you're going from lab straight up to your IV or straight up to, into there. But I think in the US right now, it's like, how do they actually measure what they're saying they're giving you is what they're giving you? And so I think it's a quality issue of how they decide that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess we can talk about the other part of stem cell treatment. Because we haven't...
facials? We can talk about the facials?
We can talk about the facials because we haven't released the video that I think me and Drew talked about.
Yep.
But I actually had my face done.
Me too.
Twice. And Riz has told me for years, she's like, you need to get Botox, babe. And I'm just like, I'm not doing Botox. Like, imagine Randy. You've seen me for a couple of years now. Imagine I just show up one day and there's no wrinkles in my forehead, and you just see that, boom, it's going to look kind of weird.
I actually get no facial expression. Like,
yeah, it's just kind of my signature look. But I always have had like really deep, like I always call them ditches. I got like 2 ditches right here, and like it is probably 3/4 less what it was from the stem cell. So for my little stem cell procedure, you just lay down. And they just kind of like roll this little needle thing.
It's microdermabrasion. So they'll microdermabrasion, they'll actually put, a stem cell over your face.
Yep.
And then they'll actually go inject it like you would Botox into, like, so for me, they usually do right here. I mean, most people don't realize I'm almost 75. I mean, hey.
Yeah, I mean,
stem cells, baby.
It really didn't hurt. It just kind of like, they just kind of prick you, and they just, they hit you like, I don't know, 10 different spots or whatever. But I will say noticeably, like even Riz is she's like, my wrinkles in my forehead are way less, and I can just feel like they're shallow now. They're not deep. So it's kind of nice without putting in like filler or, have to go back and what is Botox every 6 months, every year, something like that. Like I just know people have to like continually go get it over and over.
And then I got my scalp done this year. So it actually helps regrow hair.
Yeah.
So it'll actually help. So I got the scalp done, and a little baby hairs growing in. Hair done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I got a question from one of my really good friends who actually has cancer right now. Pancreas cancer. And he has it, and said he's grasping at the straws at this point. I think it's... So what advice would you have for him? With that?
Just from my own dad's journey. I mean, obviously I need to know more details of like what stage he's at.
I'll connect you.
Yeah. I would say if you want to connect us directly, pretty much the pancreas is one that is, there's not a lot of new therapies on pancreas. So regardless of me having friends that, own the hospital, even when I called them, they're like, hey, this is kind of what you're going to have to do. There was a doctor in New Jersey that with my dad I had looked up that did a lot of like high dose pancreatic enzymes that had some, certain things. So yeah, so I can connect with your friend and kind of just tell him the research I did. But pancreas is one that, pancreatic, especially they always say like if you're in the early stages getting the Whipple procedure, which they actually go in and they actually take out the tumor in the pancreas, is usually the highest. But it also so for my dad's, it was sitting on a major artery. So he actually couldn't get the procedure done. So that's one that unfortunately the technology and the advances. But for anybody, I would definitely tell them to, one, if you haven't done the DNA sequencing. So what they do is you can go to certain doctors. And this is one thing I learned with my dad. He was at one of the major hospitals that I didn't know this, but depending on if they're a teaching hospital, if it's not in their bylaws, they can't even tell you things exist. So luckily I had friends who were like, nope, go to this other doctor in Santa Monica. We did the DNA sequencing. My dad actually matched to 2 targeted therapies. One was a breast cancer targeted therapy and one was a can't remember if it was might have been a liver, or I can't remember something, but it was 2 targeted that were not in, he had pancreatic and lung. And so a lot of times they'll check the gene mutations to see what gene mutations, and then there's therapies that are called off-label, which they will tell, which, I realize that certain hospitals, if they're teaching hospitals, because they're bylaws, they can't even tell you that option exists. So for anybody, I would definitely tell them to go do the DNA sequencing. That's going to also see where your body is mutating. And then there's certain targeted therapies that might be, a breast cancer for pancreatic. It might be, lung for liver or different things. So that's one thing I always tell people that most people don't even know exists. That helps them.
No, it's good. I'll definitely connect you with him. He's a good dude. He's actually a veteran. He's in the Florida State Guard. Actually, he bid the highest on the last art print that we did, and then he actually wants me to just re-auction it again. But I'm trying to convince him to take it. It's actually a wood print like this, but it's a little bit smaller one. It's the pelican with the sunset splashing in on it. Which actually, before I continue too much, do we need to take a break? We good? Want to keep rolling? We'll keep rolling. Randy, you good? You ain't got to pee?
I was just gonna go get some more coffee.
Go get some more coffee. We'll keep talking. But
y'all go ahead.
Yeah, we'll just keep going.
He's like, I'll be back.
Don't stay gone too long. We'll miss you. All right. So, but which brings me to the next point, because right now with the John Howard art stuff, or maybe soon to be Birdman art, everything that we're selling right now is going to Miracle Hope Foundation. Because I'm a big believer in it, because I see what it's done for me, Riz. I saw what it did for Charlie. I'm seeing what it's doing for all my friends. I know Alan's knees feeling better. Everyone that's getting it done is just feeling amazing. So from now until I guess the end of the year, everything we sell is going to go right to Miracle Hope. And people know how I am about nonprofits, and you're doing it right. But I was thinking, and just because I had this print behind you, what do you think? I like to do an auction. Maybe we should auction this one. Maybe a little bit smaller version, because this is a very large version, but maybe a size more like one of these sizes, so I can just ship it a little easier. But what do you think about auctioning this one with Miracle Hope?
I think that one's great.
Okay, I'm going to get that one just a little bit smaller so people can hang it up on their wall a little bit easier. But I think this is going to be the one.
I think we also need one in the hospital too.
Definitely. No, I actually got a few that I want to send down there to the hospital. The hospital actually also has little art displays in there. It's a really nice hospital.
Yeah, we have 2 great artists who've started. That's one of my next projects, is we're actually having several artists who are going to put art up in the hospital. So we'll have a rotating art gallery, and then they can put a little QR code, and then people can buy their art to help support the scholarships for the veterans and first responders.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely. That's good. Yeah, they got some. It's a nice place, and also people always ask me. They're like, "Well, is this hospital? Is it legit? Like, is it what's their history on it?" It's the one the UFC is partnered with, right? They have some kind of part. Every UFC or all their UFC fighters that need stem cells, that's where they go. And
we get a lot of UFC fighters. We've got a lot of NFL players. Most people don't know they're coming because they're still in season.
Yeah.
We get a lot of, you can see it on the social media, professional surfers, BMX racers. So a lot of athletes are coming. Yeah. But the really cool part is seeing is you can see in your treatment week now we're getting, Grandma Susan, we're getting, Sister Mary, you know what I mean? Like you're just getting the normal people who are just, whether they're fighting autoimmune disease, early dementia, they do intrathecal. So they'll actually go up and break the blood-brain barrier.
Oh, wow.
So they'll go through there. So yeah, we're just getting the normal people now that are just, been fighting injuries for years. They're coming down there.
That's what I tell people. I'm like, if it wasn't a reputable hospital, the UFC wouldn't be sending their people down there and partnering with it. And also,
people don't realize it is an actual hospital.
It's an actual hospital.
You know what I mean? It's a real hospital that actually has surgical floors, surgical units. I mean, they can do biopsies in there. They have a CT scan. They now have MRI facilities. Like, it is a full-fledged hospital. People don't realize.
Yeah, no.
They do all their labs on site. Yeah. So every time they do the blood works, the blood's on site. The DNA testing's on site. So, all their labs are on site.
And didn't Joe Rogan even go there, or he endorsed it or something? Or he talked about it on the podcast?
Uncle Joe?
Yeah, is
We
that what
call
you
him,
guys call him, Uncle
we call
Joe?
him Joe.
Uncle Joe?
Yeah, he has. I mean, as far as I know, I mean, but there's, like, it's funny. I remember one day I was sitting in the lobby and I was actually like doing some work, and all of a sudden, out of the hyperbaric chambers, all of a sudden, like I see this guy and I kind of do one of these. And it was Mike Tyson.
Oh, really?
And it was like, and I was like, oh, hi. And he comes and sits right next to me, talks to me for 15, 20 minutes. And he's come down there. So, yeah. So, I mean, they get some pretty heavy hitters. Joe, I believe, I know he's had stem cells, but I'm not sure if but he's also, the guys know him from the jiu-jitsu community. So they always say, like, before he was really Joe Rogan, they knew him from way in the early days on there.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, so that's why he's been such a good supporter of theirs.
Yeah, he's been asking to come on the podcast.
Nice.
So I think
Yeah.
we're gonna get Joe
Still,
Rogan
still
on there.
Still considering it?
Yeah, we're still, just making sure everything aligns.
Making sure
properly.
he's legit.
Yeah, making sure
Yeah.
he's the right.
Is that
kinda
before or after
guest.
Sean Ryan?
It was definitely before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was asking to come on, so we're gonna get Joe Rogan on eventually. So be cool. But I mean, yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a reputable hospital. This isn't just because when I went down to Panama last year, they had stem cell clinics advertised everywhere. People I know that have gone in Mexico, wherever, Colombia, Peru, everyone's going to all these different clinics, but it's like, I feel good about going to the one that Joe Rogan talks about and the UFC goes to. And now I know there's all these veterans going to, and I mean, it's reputable.
And people don't realize, because people see the success they've had today. I've been on the journey since they started, and people don't realize, I mean, one, like, they slept in the hospital in the early days. I mean, the owners literally slept in the hospital, and the hospital is actually, they didn't decide to, like, oh, I'm just going to go open a hospital in Tijuana. It was actually one of the owner's mom had a rare form of rheumatoid arthritis, and they found this hospital was actually closed down. And there was a certain therapy there that he'd read a paper on that he wanted to try for his mom. So he actually put his mom in remission. I think within, I can't remember how long, but it was within like 18 months or 2 years. But she was like their second patient at the hospital. But yeah, and that was for me, because when I went down in 2017, I was hanging out for 2 weeks with cancer patients. And when you watch patients come in on death's door and within a week they're walking into the hyperbaric and you're like, whoa, who is this? I mean, there was one girl who had this like crazy tumor in her forehead. They shrunk. A guy that had this tumor in his stomach that was like, looked like he was pregnant. Stage 4 to no more. You know what I mean? So they've just had some really, like, when you start seeing that kind of healing happen. And so, a lot of people see, the hospital, what it is today, which the original hospital, like one of the early patients, I think it was the first or second patient, one of the cancer patients, his sister-in-law was an artist. So when she came down, because they would spend 3 weeks there. So when she came down, she literally started painting murals on the walls. Well, then all the patients started painting on the walls. So back the original hospital, if you went in there, you'd see scriptures written on there. You'd see where patients are writing, really cool, motivating, inspirational quotes to each other. So it had just this whole like specialness on there. So yeah, so like for me, it's like because I've seen the history, it's different than like, wow, the big beautiful hospital and the big, it's on Joe Rogan. You know what I mean? It's like when you've watched the blood, sweat, and tears that have been poured into that hospital. It's pretty special.
No, it's an amazing place.
And on the staff, I mean, I always tell people, that's the one thing people always comment after their first trip. They're like, I just want to go back. All the staff is so amazing.
Oh yeah.
Like they just, you can barely do anything and they're like carrying your stuff and they're like helping you. And, because we get a few macho ones that like don't listen. And so they actually, you need a little bit of help. Because they're like, oh, let me do both knees and both elbows and everything, or both shoulders, and then they're in a wheelchair having to get out of the hospital. But
no, the staff there are absolutely amazing. Honestly, I would compare it to being like in a high-end restaurant. Just the level of like attention you get. Like they're always coming up to you. Do you need something? Can I help you? I mean, they're always there, observing, helping. I mean,
and so many of their staff have been there since the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Like they've been there. I mean, they've been there, 10 years now. I mean, obviously they've grown. They're now, I think they're 250 employees now.
Oh, there's that many. Wow.
There's that many. Yeah. Because you got to think between the cancer side, the stem cell side, the maintenance staff, the lab staff, the scientists, and they've got the admin house with the accounting team, and I mean they've continued to just grow and grow.
Wow.
The MRI facility, so now they just continue to to grow. But
And they're actually
Christmas parties are
good.
amazing.
I bet. But the food's good there.
Yeah, they actually have Lorenza.
Oh, nice.
They actually have that. They actually cater the Christmas party.
Oh, that restaurant is.
Yeah, I think I heard a rumor. It's at one of the state last year was at this. There's this bull ring.
Yeah.
And it's a closed down bull ring that's right across from the Playas. And so last year they actually rented out the bull ring.
That's cool.
And Lorenza came and catered it. And so yeah, they're really, really good to they're also really good to their team.
That's the restaurant with the bone marrow taco, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep.
Guys, I'm telling you, if you go to Tijuana, get the bone marrow taco. The bone marrow taco is just incredible.
So should we go back to the cosmetic procedures?
You know what? I was about to get to that. I was like, oh, let's take a break and then we'll come back to it. But you know what? We're here. Let's talk about it because I got no problem talking about it. I tell all the boys to go get it. So for the audience out there, you can get stem cells injected directly in your down there.
Women can too.
Women can too. And before I talk about my experience, do you want to maybe go into the science behind it?
No, I will. I mean, it's funny because originally it was always this kind of like, haha, funny.
Yeah.
You know, men are getting the penile injection and they're going in there.
They call it the
P shot in there. But it was really interesting, especially, you know, some may or may not know that, especially within the special operators community, that most of them end up having
some ED.
Yeah. Just because of the high levels of stress and cortisone, testosterone levels go down. So we actually realized really early on that, like, at first it was kind of like, okay, if someone else talks to them about it, like they can get it, they'll all talk to you. But then we've actually started putting it into on their 6-month follow-up. Just because it's such a, you know, important thing because, you know, I'm not from the community. So it's kind of like me and God have a lot of great conversations because I'm going like, how did I become this person that's like helping all, you know, that's helping the community. But what really was really interesting because for me, very, very quickly saw like why the suicide rate was so high. And just because I started seeing like everything that made you guys who you are was slowly stripped away, you know, and at first it's the people like, oh, they can't work out. No, it's not that they can't work out, that they literally say, I couldn't even protect my family. Here I am, was protecting the country. Now I can't even protect my family. I can't walk my dogs. I can't pick up my kids. I mean, that's probably the one thing I hear the most because I'll do interviews when they're down there and say, like, what are you looking most forward to in your healing? The thing I hear the most is picking up my kids, playing with my kids. We had one recently that I interviewed and he said, my youngest son has never seen me be able to do anything active ever. And that just like, it just breaks my heart. And then also the ED. And so it's like, yeah. So it's like physical intimacy, strength, protection, like everything that really made them who they were, especially in service, like it's just been stripped away. And then they're in so much pain. They're like, you know, and so doing that. So we actually, while it was kind of something that was haha, funny in the beginning, and I would just let, you know, somebody else talk to him about it. Now it's actually, we have our veteran advocate talk to him about it. And we actually put it into their treatment plan at the 6-month follow-up, just because, you know, for men's mental health specifically, like it's important.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll tell you guys, it's amazing. You want to get it done. And the best way I can describe it, not to get like just try to keep it a little bit more serious because I love making jokes about it and everything, but it's basically like you're just taking Viagra all the time without taking Viagra. That's the best way I can describe it.
Well, it's actually, so they're actually going into the urethra. So it's actually recirculating blood flow. Yeah. And so it's actually, you know, there is a protocol afterwards where you have to
protocol. I'll tell you guys the protocol. This is literally why I didn't get done the first time. Because at first I was like, I'm getting it done. But
and Riz had gotten her back done, and Riz is like, you're on your own.
Done and one shoulder. So literally the doctor's orders, you're gonna love this, Randy. Twice a day, you have to get that thing filled up for at least 15 minutes with the blood flow. So for twice a day, and since I had both shoulders done and Riz was all done as well, the doctor was like, you should probably wait 6 months to get it done. And I'm very glad I waited 6 months.
Well, because also if your back's in pain, if you can't use it yet, because it is a muscle, you're reinvigorating the blood flow, you're having to actually build that muscle. Yeah. So if you can't use it, you're kind of, you kind of want to wait until you can actually have fun and use it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is actually the reason why Riz is still with me for our 17th anniversary because
Mm.
I got it done.
Yeah.
But I asked the doctor because everyone's like, oh, does it get bigger? Everybody wants to know. And I'll tell you exactly what the doctor said. He goes, you're not going to get any length off of it. He goes, if you do, it's going to be very, very minimal. But he's like, you'll just probably get a little bit more width on it
A little more
because
girth.
it's a little more girth because you're allowing more blood flow to get in there
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad I got it done. All my friends that have got it done, they love it. Actually, the doctor there told me right when he finished, he goes, you'll be back for another one. He goes,
Yep.
everyone always comes back for a second shot.
Dr. Falk.
Funny.
You got fucked.
Yeah, funny guy. I ain't gonna lie, it was the only procedure where I was a little bit nervous on. Like the back and neck and shoulders didn't bother me, but I mean, like you go in there, you kind of lay down. It's the doc and then his nurse, and they just put like a little medical blanket over you. And he's all right, unzip it, pulls his little syringe out. It's the quickest thing you'll ever do. But he looked over at me. He goes, "Don't make eye contact with me when I do this." I swear he said that. He goes, "Don't make eye contact with me when I do this." And he just kind of grabbed a hold of it and he goes, one side, other side, that's it. I mean, it's a quick procedure.
Yeah,
I
I
was
think
a
we've
little
had one of
sore.
our early patients. I think he's at round 8.
Round 8. That's excessive. That's
Yeah, so I think twice a year he usually comes back, and
Wow.
every year he,
Man's
but,
busy.
hey.
Man's busy.
Yeah.
But
how long's the process? Like so once you
seconds.
get the shots?
Oh, it's like seconds. I mean, it's like they inject it. It's pretty quick, and
So
then
you wait
just
20, I think you're down for 24 hours, or you're down for 1 day, which I will say nothing super uncomfortable. I was a little sore if I just move or touch it or something like that. A little sore, but nothing uncomfortable. I was more sore from flag football this weekend than I was from that. And then after
playing against kids who schooled him and beat him.
they did. They whooped me pretty bad. And then I want to say you have to not for 2 days or 3 days.
Yeah, I think it's 48 hours.
48 hours, something like that. So the downtime is not a big deal at all. But after that,
But then you have to twice a day for at least a week.
twice a day.
The doctor also has a theory. There is studies out there that he's like, you should be using it 21 times a month.
21 tight. I like that.
It's actually for prostate health.
Yeah. Oh, prostate health. But when we were down there in Mexico, me and my other CCT buddy, we were just kind of making jokes about it, like while we're doing like little film interviews and stuff. But Christina came up with a great campaign slogan that I don't know if they're going to ever officially endorse it, but it's called "Make Veterans Hard Again." So yeah, and then advertise it that way because honestly, it would go viral in the entire world.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
Yeah,
it's just
it is.
funny,
I approve.
Yeah.
You prove.
Like no one's gonna be like, oh, that's so pervert. No, it's funny,
Mhm.
and it actually there's a real purpose behind it. It's really good. So yeah, I mean, like if you have any type of ED functions or anything, go do it. And for the girls, it just kind of does the same thing, more blood flow, just makes them
Helps
feel.
with the collagen. It helps with elasticity and the sensation.
Yeah, I mean, if you'll get it done for your back and neck and your shoulders, might as well get it done down there. It's also a cheap procedure. I don't remember the exact price, but it was, I think, somewhere under the $3,000
Yeah,
range.
32-ish.
Yeah, something like that. And then if you actually stack on, I think, multiple procedures, facials, whatever, you get like a little bit of a better pricing and stuff. But highly recommend it. And I mean, yeah, the doctor's funny. What's his name again?
Dr. Falk.
That's really his name, Dr. Falk. Wow.
Yeah, my favorite story of him is we did our first event where we brought donors to, and we did we took everybody on a yacht charter, and literally all of a sudden I see him holding cord over here and everybody's like laughing and what's going on. I go over there, I'm like, what? And he literally is describing basically how to do an implant, a penile implant.
Oh.
Like, you raise it in a tortilla and you just do it like a tortilla. And I'm just like, oh my God. All the men are cringing and the women are like, oh my God. And I was like, Dr. Falk, I will never look at you the same again. I was like, I will never.
Oh wow.
So he's a hoot.
Wow. Well, what else can we talk about with stem cells that I'm not talking about? Or have we hit everything?
I mean, I think we've covered most of the procedures. We've covered, autoimmunes. We've covered the cosmetics, facial, scalps, on there. So, I mean, there's people who've done their hands. I had like an 80-year-old woman. It was her birthday. She was down there getting her knees redone.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, you know what? She's like, I stopped wearing all my good jewelry because my hands look like shit. So she actually got her hands done. So she got her stem cells in her hands, and so yeah. So
what about burn patients? Can they do stem cells for burn injuries?
You know, I'll have to so there was one. It's actually an early patient. I joke because he's one of the early ones because there was when they first started doing the penile injections, he was there that week and he got like I think 8 of the guys that week to do it. And I remember Lola, who's she's
awesome.
We call her Dr. Lola. She's not really a doctor, but she knows more than things. But he'd like text her and he's like, "Hey, how many for 8 dicks?" It was like, "How many?" But his wife actually got burned, so it was like a bacon grease accident, and so she got some pretty severe burns. So she was recently down there, I think a couple months ago.
Oh.
So I'd actually have to get an update on how she's doing, but I think it was her second round.
Okay.
She was coming down and actually getting stem cells to regrow the collagen and the tissue and the skin.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be big for, obviously everybody, but definitely for the veteran community, because a lot of people did get burn injuries from, IEDs and, car fires and stuff like that. So I could see that being a big thing because I don't think they really have any treatments for regrowing skin or other than skin grafts.
Yeah, I'll have to ask because she was just down there, and so I was just seeing like she was just recently getting the procedure done. So
yeah, that'd be definitely interesting. Definitely interesting to hear about. Let's talk about your Can we talk about your wealth management that you do? Because we got all the stem cells. I know that's what everyone really wants to talk about, but just to get a little bit more about you, are you taking clients?
Selectively. So I only keep
Do you have to be rich to be your client?
You have to have stuff to plan for.
Okay.
So I keep about 35 to 40 financial planning families. I learned very quickly that they don't want to leave me. So it's when I've had to let a client go, it took 2 years to let them go. They didn't want to go. Just because a lot of my clients, their kids end up becoming my clients. Financial planning is usually not about financial planning. Yes, I joke that it's, you're basically, it's tax savings. Like how do you save the most amount of taxes legally? But really for me, I got into more of the relational side. So through my own family's journey, when my dad was going through his lung journey, I became our family trustee at like 33. First 5 years, no big deal. I'm the planner, I'm the trustee. But as he started going through his journey, it really relationally started to strain us. And for me, I'm like, there's no amount of trinkets in the world that matter. Especially, so I was like, I don't care. But at the time, I couldn't find any solutions. You get the estate attorneys who do mission, vision, values work, but no one who is actually helping us how to relationally walk the journey together, especially when I had 2 sets of grandparents, parents, my brother and I, and everybody's in different stages of life. And really at the time, like, I just need to be the daughter and the granddaughter, not everybody's financial planner and the trustee. So primarily where I mostly work today with families is as they're transitioning the business or the wealth between generations. So think of it as most businesses do team building and culture building for their business, but no one does it for their families. But in reality, you're now asking a new generation to step in, and especially when there is a lot of resources to go around and they're having to be generous. And they're having, you're wanting them to now give the money away and run a business, but they're not the one that created the business. So that's a lot of fun with families. So it's completely separate. So if I have the financial planner hat on, I will not be the relational coach at all. But that's really fun to go in with couples and families because we do personality profiles, we do their love languages, teach them how to have safe conversations. And that's really, really rewarding. Because when you see families, like they just have fun with it, because, stereotypical, you got dad who's the high lion and then he wants the son to take over the business, but the son's more of a golden retriever. And he's like, why isn't he running? But by the time they're done, they start joking with each other and they're like, oh, dad, put your lion away. Or like, hey, mom, your otter's peeking out again. Come on. Okay, let's go have fun together. But also realizing like if they're a quality time, if they're acts of service. And so when they really actually start to get to know each other, it's a lot of fun. And you see families who they really thrive. If you know the statistics currently. So currently right now, 70% of generational wealth is gone in the second generation. 90% is gone within the third generation.
Hmm.
So most people don't know that only 1 in 10 families actually ever become a multi-generational family.
Wow.
But it's very much a buzzword. Everybody's like, oh, I want multi-generational wealth and I want to do that. But no one actually creates the foundation, because like 85% of the time, the reason it happens is because of trust and communication. It's not because of the legal and technical planning. You can have great attorneys, great wealth managers, great financial planners, but if the families can't actually work together, and I'm sure all of us can tell a story of someone whose family where the brother stopped talking, someone tried to change the trust on them, someone, and it's like I joke, but it's like, oh, little Johnny got a bike when he was 5 and I didn't, but it really is childhood resentment because, especially when the parents, if they're the wealth creator and they actually created the wealth and they didn't come from much, now they're going to do the opposite with their children. They want their children to have everything they didn't have. But the reason they were able to a lot of times create and steward that wealth was because of the ethics and things, values that were instilled in them. Well, now when the children now are growing up, and sometimes Disneyland, I call it, because, there's different things. Well, now they're going to grow up in a different way. So you have to then, so that work has been probably the most rewarding. Not that I can't be people's financial planner too. Like that to me is kind of, it's been 20 years. And so it's like, yeah, it's great, but it's like really being able to change a family relationally to work together. Like that's really what, like, just really pulls my heart.
So you're really doing like the generational kind of wealth management, not just like, oh, I'm going to run your stock portfolio or here's a new investment to put some money in, stuff like that.
No, I hire an investor. So I have an investment team I've worked with for 17 years. So they do all of the, they get up at the 4 a.m. and they're doing all the actual, I don't actually manage portfolios at all. I just make sure the manager does their job. For me, it's really, what goals do you have? What resource, what are your goals? What resources do you have and how do you get there? And how do you plan it the most efficiently? Most of my clients these days, like, so, some of the ones it's, they have one of my couples has a special needs son. Well, he's like 47 now and he has cerebral palsy. They didn't actually even think he'd live this long. They're now getting close to 80. And so now they're like, hey, like we really have to do some different planning. So, after it's not even just setting up the special needs trust. It's like, hey, if you're gone, who's going to go buy him a new pair of jeans? Who's going to go get him a new, he likes to Skype, so he has a lot of things he does. And so it's like was putting in a family friend who is now, so people don't realize it's not the money that's the most time. It's like, actually, okay, how is someone going to actually care for your son if you're not here? And even for them, they're actually just recently put him on the list and they're going to transition to him to a home. And not because they have to, but they feel, you know what, it's probably going to be better on him to do it while we're still here and we can visit every single day versus very shockingly it happening. And then he just goes somewhere and they're like, at least we're going to know where he's going. Is it, do we like the people, and be able to be their advocates for him.
Yeah.
So, I always say it's like, really planning. It's like, how does your major financial decisions relationally affect your family? And relationally affect you. And that's where my gift has been for most of my clients. I mean, I think if I look through my clients, I've had almost all of them for 15 to 18 years. So I've had them a long time. So now I have their children, now their grandchildren. And most of the time it's those type of decisions that we're walking through. It's not, what portfolio do I do? And like most people don't realize most investment managers are very similar. They're, you know what I mean? It's they're all going to be within, a certain amount of degree different than each other because they're all using the same, they're all researching the same thing. They're all using, they have the same. It's where it's going to win out is in your tax planning, because I can make you 10%, but if I then cause you 20% in taxes, did you really get ahead? And so in doing that, but also it's like, how do you then give it to the next generation? What happens? And like my biggest thing I tell people is you're not doing your planning and your trust work because it's for you. That's the gift you're giving your family. Like I remember one of my dad's best friends sadly had an aneurysm and his kids are my brother and I's age. And like, they're of course distraught. They don't know what to do. But then the hospital is asking them like, do you pull the plug? Do you not? Well, one, he's old school Italian. You know what I mean? Like he probably, I probably knew what the answer was. And the kids were like, we don't want to make the wrong decision. And I was like, does he have health power of attorneys? Does he have a trust? Does he have any of this? And they're like, what is that? And luckily we went to their house, and ironically, they used the same attorney that our family had used.
Oh.
So I'm guessing at some point my dad was like, hey, go use this attorney. But he was very clear. Do not keep me alive in artificial means. Do not let me be a vegetable. And so I remember just them looking at me and just saying, like, thank you. Like, this really sucks. But also, you just kept us from years of wondering if we made the right decision. But now this was his decision. And that's what people don't realize is, like, you don't want your family members in mourning to now having to make one, whether it's probate and having to deal with going to find your assets, but also guessing on what you wanted. Because especially when a widow who didn't take care of the money at all, and the husband's the one that takes care of everything. Well, now it's like she's trying to go like figure everything out in the middle of mourning, and doing that. And so that was something we learned even with my family is, like, as we lost a couple of my grandparents, and I had a grandma that was in hospice for 4.5 years, and so, like, we didn't have to, because we had done the trust so many years earlier, we didn't have to go through any of that. And even when my dad passed, the only thing my mom had to deal with was switching over to Social Security. Other than that, her income still came every month. She still got to, and so people don't realize that when you're doing planning, it's not just to make more money. The planning is because most people, their family is the most precious asset you have is your family. Like, and that's really what it's about. But most people don't really think about the people. They only think about the dollars and cents.
Mm-hmm. So how can people find you if they want to talk to you for wealth advisor, if you're taking on anybody? Is there a website?
So my company is purposefulplanning.com.
Okay.
So so on the financial planning side, purposefulplanning.com. On the relational side, it's heartofgenerosity.com.
Yeah. And no pores allowed. Don't apply.
I do some pro bono work.
Oh, nice.
I do. No, I do. I actually, cause it was very early on that my heart just was like, the people that really need me are the people who really can't afford me. And also, like, we all have to have a business that we have to.
I got you a new client right here.
Not directed at you.
You don't even have.
Totally.
I don't need a referral fee for Randy.
Okay.
You can have him. So yeah.
Are you just going to pay his planning fee?
Randy, you owe me $20. Yeah.
Yeah. But but it is true. It's like the people that really need you can't afford to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
And doing that. And so, like, for me, I spend a lot of time just, helping people just do the basic foundation, because most people we weren't taught financial literacy. Most people's parents didn't talk about money, and so, like, most people, they just, like, Roth IRA, what? Like, it just glazes over their eyes. Well, what do you mean a 401? You know what I mean? And doing that. So so I do a lot of education. And
I've always thought about that. People will always ask, especially like right when I sold my business, people would always ask me, like, hey, like, will you start a coaching business, or will you start, some kind of like mentorship
like, I don't even know yet.
And I was like, I kind of just want to chill. But I was like, you know what? If I ever started like a coaching business, it wouldn't be like one of these Instagram coaches where they're like, my program's $10,000 for the month, It'd be something like $50 or something. Because the people that I actually need it, like you said, they can't afford to pay that kind of money, So if I ever get around to doing that one day, I don't know if I ever will. But
yeah, but there's so many great now. That's the beauty of what the internet's created.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some really great online platforms now that you can get access to top money managers for 0.25% managing it. There's certain like ones now that they'll actually do. It's a planning based goal.
Yeah.
But they'll do high yield savings accounts at the current rates. I mean, there's so many like now resources. So that's what I usually do for people. So instead of me actually taking them on, I actually will just teach them how to go do it themselves, because people don't really need a true financial planner until you at least have, a couple $100,000. You know what I mean? Because really at the beginning, you just need to put it away.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to save, use that compound interest. My greatest gift this year was both my nieces had me set them up a Roth IRA and a high yield savings account. I was like, you guys have been listening. I was like, so that was a lot. That was really cool. That made me really happy this year.
My guy, maybe I'm getting ripped off. My guy charges me, I think, 1% of everything.
No, that's standard. I'm talking about the do-it-yourselfer though.
Oh, do-it-yourself.
No. So I'm saying like there's now ones that they can just do it themselves, and they're getting ETF funds at 0.25. But no, a standard fee is 1%. 1%,
but my guy makes me.
If they're doing financial planning.
He does all my stock portfolio. But he makes me more than 1%. And I always tell people, like, initially I did investments with him. Mm-hmm. I didn't give him my stock portfolio, and then he asked for it. And I was like, well, are you better at trading stocks than me? And he's like, oh, I
Oh,
guarantee I am.
guarantee.
And I was like, okay, prove it.
Mhm.
And literally, he's like, all right, I think probably a
You
week
keep an
later,
account, I'll keep an account, we'll watch them.
we went and had lunch, and we went back to his office, and he put a graph of I had like a TD Ameritrade like stock count.
Now Charles Schwab.
Oh, is it Charles Schwab now?
Well, it switched, yeah.
Oh, they bought
Schwab
him out?
bought TD Ameritrade.
Ah, got it. He's actually with Charles Schwab. That's how my brokerage account is now, I guess. He's like partnered with him. But it showed my graph, which it was a positive track record. And then it showed his. I was like, oh, dang. I was like, you are definitely better at trading stocks than me. So I'm like, it's obviously worse than 1% because he's going to make me like an extra 10% doing his little magic. Because I mean, that's what he does all day. All day. He's just there researching. He's trading. He's buying. I get a notification every time he like buys or sells something. I mean, the dude's just work.
Well, and it's a discipline. Most people, like most people try to do it themselves, there's too much emotion. It's like gambling. It's like all of a sudden you want, it's like, oh yeah, and you're chasing it. Or then it's the opposite, and you just don't have those disciplines to know, like, hey, what is the sector's doing? Where are they going? What's next? And so the discipline of it will always outbeat the emotion of most investors.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't think we're getting any more questions. Some people are saying thank you so much for the stem cell. Very interesting. Things like that.
I just have one more.
Go ahead.
No,
Yes.
I just want to say one thank you to you and Riz. So even though I've been joking with everybody that you guys kidnapped me on Thursday and aren't letting me
We're
go home.
happy to kidnap you.
But I don't think you guys realize how much I really needed a few days away. Like this journey, while it's been very rewarding, it's also been a very, very heavy journey. And I've just been feeling really just the heaviness of it and just feeling really like just overwhelmed and drained. So I don't think you guys realize the gift you gave me these last several days to just sit on your dock. And like today, I literally had dolphins running by me and jumping in the water. I actually thought it was the neighbor swimming. And I was like, oh my God, there's dolphins! Vegas girl, and doing that. But no, I don't think you guys realize the gift you gave me to recharge these last several days. And so I just want to really thank you for your generous hearts because you guys just do just give and give and give. So I just want to thank you both for that.
That makes me so happy to hear because like you did so much for like just me physically and for Riz, which also affects our mental health. So to hear that I can make you happy by just having you come hang out at the house and chill on the dock is great. You're not leaving anytime soon, are you? When's your flight home?
Well, I did put a tent up down on the dock, and so I was trying to figure out like how long it would take you to notice I didn't leave.
Yeah,
I was just gonna have my dog shipped out and my mail forwarded.
You can hang out here.
Well, and like I said, I'm gonna now start applying for your dog sitter.
Yeah, he's probably leaving for another.
No, that's what I said. I said I'm gonna apply for the dog sitter. Just came out with the chickens and dogs.
The next trip is either El Salvador or Patagonia, Chile. That's the next trip. Yeah, El Salvador is really on my list right now because I'm the president. I don't want to say his name because I'm going to say it wrong. I forgot what it actually is, but the president of El Salvador is super impressive. I mean, that guy has just completely 180 changed that country. But the growth that's happening there and just how safe it is. And I'm just like, and I really like Central and South America. So I'm like, you know what? El Salvador is like a 3-hour flight away. Let's go check it out. And I just had some friends recently go there and they had nothing but positive things to say about it. So I'm hoping that we might actually go down there in the next month or so, just because it's a quick little flight. And I got to do one more flight to hit my status with United. So I do. I have to. I get one more flight.
I got to keep that.
Listen, if you schedule your time right,
Yep.
properly,
Yep.
you can be here while he's gone.
Exactly.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of flights, because it made me think about United Airlines, our friend Robert, who just he just won the Miracle Hope.
Yeah, Hope for Heroes.
So he just won the Hope for Heroes Challenge, which was great. You had the UFC fighter Dominic Cruz.
We had Josh Emmett, we had Max Griffin, Alan Jobain.
I know that guy.
Yeah, so we had some really, really great, partners that stepped up, and we can definitely do a plug for that because we were able to. Robert won.
Yep, Robert
he won the full.
Robert is a AFSOC pilot. He's still in the Guard, and he also flies for the airlines. But he worked with my boys as a civilian contractor over in Africa, flying all the special operators around while still being in the Guard, and 28 deployments. Which a lot of people are like 28 deployments, but pilots have like shorter rotations. But his back's all messed up.
That's what I had said. I was like 28. I was like, did you like spend the entire time deployed?
They usually do like a 2-month deployment, so 2 months on, 2 months off. So they get a lot more. But I mean, his back from flying and just, I think he's 16 years, 17 years of service. I mean, his back's messed up, as a lot of pilots are. And the challenge was get votes.
Yep.
to promote Miracle Hope Foundation,
Mm-hmm.
which, we'll just kind of get into a little bit. Some people didn't like the fact that veterans had to promote themselves to get treatment, but tell the VA to go pay for the treatment. Oh, the VA silent. The VA ain't going to do it. So how do we raise money to pay for this stuff? By promoting it. That's what I got the same feedback during Hurricane Helene. People were like, well, thank you for helping out during Hurricane Helene, but why do you feel the need to promote it? I'm like, well, how do you think I raised over $1 million for these hurricane victims? People don't know if they don't know. You have to get the word out there. So I'm glad we got the word out there.
And then
very positive.
Luckily we had some other foundations and from the overwhelming support. So we were actually able
Combat
to give
Control Foundation.
Combat Control Foundation. Yep. And we were able to give the second runner-up a full scholarship as well.
And that was the domino effect of it. You got the first place guy taken care of, you got the second place guy taken care of, and then 3
and
different
4 we got it 75%.
75%.
And then we were able to do 5 through 10 at 50%.
Wow.
So now we've switched gears to the end of the year to try to get all of them funded. To be able to get them all done. And that is the hard part is like, I get a lot of people that reach out that are like, wait a minute, you're just trying to promote your foundation. I'm like, you're right.
Yes.
Because this foundation, it's $35,000 on average to treat people.
It
and
costs money.
We're not just hey, we're helping people go on a hunt that costs $2,000. Like every single one that we're treating is almost $35,000. So yeah, like we have to bring awareness and get people to help support us. So yeah, anybody, especially any business owners, if you got any tax deductions before the end of the year, I don't know if Birdman Lawn Service, if you could talk to them for me.
Oh, they're pretty broke. They need a few more accounts. A few more accounts.
But yeah, I mean, if you guys know of any businesses that need any year-end tax deductions, any other veteran foundations that would like to rally with us. So our gap is $150,000 for the end of the year. Right now we're in conversations with a foundation that's going to do $35,000 of that nice. to get 2 scholarships done to partner with us. So yeah, so anybody else wants to help us through the end of the year, we'll definitely no hero left behind. So we would like to basically have all 10. And I mean, just the stories have been incredible. Randy, the second one, he was a 25-year captain in New Jersey. That was actually on duty and was a hit and run on his motorcycle. Ended up in the hospital, didn't think he was going to walk again.
Police captain.
Police captain.
He was on the police motorcycle too.
Police motorcycle.
He was on duty when it happened.
On duty when it happened. It was a hit and run. Didn't think he was going to walk again. So he does walk with a cane. But yeah, I mean, his sister actually, when she sent her thank you video for nominating him, it was, just broke my heart. But then we got to talk to the number 3, Sean, who he was also military and has a really, really rare autoimmune disease that most people don't realize. But like he said, basically it's like he has permanent shingles, but like every nerve in his body is just constantly on fire. And then the number 4, he was a police officer as well. I get chills every time I tell these stories, but he was off duty. He's a canine officer. And so they asked him to bring his canine to go after somebody who was raping young women. And he went on that call and ended up, the guy pulled a knife on him and stabbed him in like the head and somewhere and wherever. So he basically had 2 incidences within 2 months that basically put him out of service. Wow. And hasn't been able to do it. And he was actually one that shared with us that his youngest son's never actually seen him active at all. Because he's in so much pain. He has 3 sons.
Wow.
So I won't share the rest of the stories as we continue to roll them all out. But in our top 10, we have another combat controller. So he's so it's really, when you start really hearing these stories, like I'm sure your community knows, but I had no clue. But the more every story I hear, it's just I have one guy right now that was 350 Percocets a month. He has a rare autoimmune as well. His hands and feet turn purple. Wow. I had another gentleman. He was my highest. He was on like 280 something pain pills a month. He's on 0 pain pills, stopped drinking. Wow. So that's been really cool too, is it's not just the pain they're getting out of, but a lot of them stop drinking because they don't, the one thing I hear the most is I was not suicidal, but I'm not going to live in this pain much longer. And it's just, I always know if they tell me it's an 8 out of 10 pain, it's a 20 out of 10. Because you guys are pretty pretty high pain tolerance.
Except for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You were my.
Yeah. I'll let you know if I'm in pain.
Yeah. You know, so yeah. So I mean, it's like the more stories you hear, you just realize like how much you guys really do sacrifice for us.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody warned you of the journey after, because it's not also the physical. You know, we've now started a really cool partnership with a brain institute in Dallas. Because I started noticing after the physical healing was happening and they weren't focusing on the pain anymore. Some of the invisible pain was kind of showing up and doing that. So now we're working on some brain healing.
Nice.
So brain body, and we've got a really good partner that's been doing some purpose work coaching with our groups and stuff. So yeah, it's been a cool journey.
That's something I'm going to encourage all the veteran charities out there, nonprofits out there, especially in the special tactics community, the special operations, SF, SEALs, Raiders, Rangers, like push your guys to Miracle Hope. Like if you need to put some money somewhere by the end of the year, this is the place to put it. Like send the money to Miracle Hope, get your dudes down there that need it. I mean, Combat Control Foundation did that for me when they found out I was going. They've
actually been our biggest supporter.
Amazing.
They really take care of your community.
Mike LaMonica is amazing. He reached out to me when he heard I was going to go get stem cells, and he was like, hey, I want to pay a portion of this because I want to see what it does for you, and then I want to push this back to the community. And it's been like honestly nothing positive for me.
I think we have 8 combat controllers now and 4 on the way.
And there's thousands that need to get it done. So
yeah, that's definitely been one of the communities I've noticed you guys really take
for
care
all
of.
the foundations out there, please, I'm telling you, get with Miracle Hope Foundation. Like send some love their way. Promote, even if you can't send money. That's the thing. Even if you can't send money,
just share the stories.
Share the stories. Promote it, because everyone's got some kind of wealthy friends. Now to all my wealthy friends out there who love to donate, and they do, please go to miraclehopefoundation.org, and there's a donation link on there, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Yeah, you can go in there and donate anytime, and I'm telling you, it's been life-changing for me.
And if it's a large donation, contact us. We'll get you wire transfers.
It's also Watchman List approved. I have ran the numbers on there. I'm very impressed. Like everything was even better than I could even, like there was no, like you could tell there was no just made up expenses or office expenses or all this nonsense. Like you can see where the money's going. It's helping the veterans. I am proof of that. So to all my wealthy friends out there, and to just anyone out there, you know what? I'll tell you what we're going to do right now. It's my 17th anniversary.
Ooh-wee.
And I was telling everyone in the gym today, hey, Venmo me $17 for my 17th anniversary. I haven't got any $17 at all. No one sent me $1. So I'm going to encourage everyone out there, which is probably like 4 people watching right now. I get shadow banned a lot too. But anyways, whenever you watch this on YouTube, whatever, go donate $17 to Miracle Hope Foundation. You too, Randy, do it right now. $17 to Miracle Hope Foundation. That would make me very happy, because I have seen what Miracle Hope has done for me and the wife personally, and other veterans and first responders, and it's amazing. But the Hope for Heroes was a great success, and it's still ongoing now. No veteran left behind, which is why we're going to be donating all of this to Miracle Hope as well.
Yeah, we're going to actually be launching a really cool auction. We got some really, really cool auction items from some of our, so we're starting, your wife actually just added one today.
Okay.
So yeah.
Is this going to be, where can they find the auction?
Give us a few weeks and we'll be able to, we're going to actually put it online, and we've got some cool stuff. We've got a yacht trip. We've got 3 days in Destin at some, I don't know which one it is, but your wife said
Howard Vacations
donated.
Vacations,
yep.
Yeah. I don't think she'll let me change that to Birdman, because that's not her, but Howard Vacations.
We got some the UFC fighters stepping up to do some things. And
good.
So yeah.
Good.
We're going to have some fun things.
Maybe I can hit up some other ones. There's one I hit up. I'm not going to say his name, but I'm hoping he gets involved in this one. He's a big name. I'm
going to swindle you out of a bird art picture to add in the auction.
That's definitely happened. Actually, we have his bourbon right there. So it's some good bourbon, but I'm not. I don't know.
I feel like you have too many guns as well. So maybe we throw one of your guns in the auction.
I think guns.
They're just all over your house.
I think you can donate a gun. I don't really know the laws on that.
Probably can't.
I'm not sure.
It's probably not.
But every gun has every gun is a purpose. They're all different calibers, different uses and stuff. And actually, getting ready to pull these back out for deer season here shortly. Riz got into deer hunting last year. Different topic, but yeah, whatever. So,
well, speaking of Riz, it is your anniversary, so you should probably.
It is. She's ready for dinner. I'm sure she already pulled the chicken off the grill. I didn't even grab the brass. You know what? I actually love these brass knuckles. Randy gave me these brass knuckles. These are actually the Eddie Gallagher brass knuckles. They're the FAFO edition. I think they can actually get these at Precision Tactical up in Crestview. Is that right, Randy? Or Eddie's website, Eddie Gallagher? Yeah, something like that. But they're awesome. So I just keep them around for, no one's ever going to come to my house in Santa Rosa, but you never know. Well, Christina, is there anything else you want to talk about before
we're good.
end the show?
Yeah.
I think that's it.
I think we covered a lot.
We actually covered a lot more than I thought. Randy, you got any questions? Anything you want to bring up since you've been listening?
No, I mean, I think it's neat that you can help with ED. I think that's like you said, as far as that's a big deal.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, it is.
Especially for.
Well, I mean, in all serious,
health,
it was actually on his original treatment plan. That's how it started. Yeah. And I was like, he's 36. What do you mean he's married? It's 36. What do you mean? And then, but when I started really digging in, I was like, no, the high levels of cortisol for a long period of time then tanks the testosterone. And so, yeah, it definitely.
Yeah.
So I thought that was super interesting. And I don't know if this needs to be on camera or not, but,
we're only live.
It's on live.
Okay. We're just live.
I was just thinking, I recently saw some stuff coming out of Mexico as far as cartel violence. How does that affect the visit?
I get mixed signals because I get a lot of my veterans who are like, oh my gosh, we're hearing these things. Tijuana specifically, where the hotel is the wealthy part of Tijuana. Which is in there. We haven't seen anything odd happen, because you pretty much jump in the Sprinter van, you go straight to the hospital.
Yep.
The Sprinter vans take you to the hotel. And then the restaurants are literally right across the street in a restaurant district. Yep. So we have not seen anything. I mean, they've been down there for 10 years. Everyone still thinks I'm crazy. I drive down there a lot. So, I mean, for 8 years, I've driven down there. I've gone down there. I've never once felt unsafe. So it's just, for me, it's just kind of like being in San Diego.
What's that? Oh, you just donated $17? My man.
For $17. Thank you.
So everyone else, go donate $17 to Miracle Hope. Yeah, I'll say I feel safer walking in that. Well, I guess I should say
I feel safer than I am in LA.
In that area of Tijuana, I feel safer there than going into a local city here in Fort Walton Beach or something like that. I mean, it's definitely, I've never felt unsafe there. Even when I went to the bakery, we went to that little coffee shop, everyone's just hi, it's a nice area.
They have some of the best organic. People don't realize they have some of the best organic coffee.
Yeah.
There's one of the drivers who's a coffee connoisseur, and so he's always taking me to all the new coffee shops and all the organic coffee shops. They're pretty cool.
It's a nice, very nice area.
Yeah, because the hospital's in the Playas, which is different than actual Tijuana.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the hotel there, we say it's a Hyatt, right across from all the really, really nice restaurants.
Yeah, it's not the place where people go there and get drunk across the border and all. It's the nice area. So yeah, I would say it's safe.
Being a veteran and having a lot of issues, I think I'm going to start looking for a billionaire daddy to send me out there.
Well, that's the nice thing. So for real, if you apply on there, they'll actually set you up with campaigns to help you get funded. They'll actually they'll literally do it for you, and all you have to do is share.
I heard her say that, and
yeah,
I thought maybe that was a contest or something like that.
No. So every day we give up to 50%.
That's awesome.
Start you there, and then we'll actually help you fundraise the rest.
Yeah.
Depending on, I don't know if you're from the special operations community, you guys get
only recently.
Only recently.
He's
okay.
actually in the SMU with me. That's SMU
okay.
With me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I have to say, there's so many foundations on that side. I would really love. So I mean, if anybody knows of any other foundations that are helping the broader community, those are the ones that kind of, they don't get as much special attention. It seems like for every special operations, there's 3 foundations that'll help them. When the broader community doesn't quite have so many. So yeah, if anybody knows of any that are supporting, especially I've there's a few we're in conversations with that I feel that they've raised the money, but they can't get the physical healing. And so we're actually physically being able to heal. So yeah.
That's a big thing. I've been telling a lot of people. I'm not trying. A lot of treatments you go to don't actually physically heal the body. It's like a mental health weekend retreat or something. This is actually healing the body, which in turn is healing the mental health part. Because if we can send a guy who can't work out, can't even do a push-up, do a sit-up, and then he goes there and gets healed, now he can work out, start feeling good. What's that going to do? He's going to start eating right. He's going to want to sleep better. And that's what it's done for me. Like I can actually go to the gym and lift weights, and I'm not just like, oh, my shoulder or my back is tightening up.
Yeah, but they actually can participate with their family again.
Yeah,
they can go play sports, and then they can actually do things with their kids.
It is indirectly a mental health treatment by healing the body. So it's a great thing to
I see her Riz coughing. I think Riz is telling
No,
us.
I was going to say, but I'm hoping we can get some of the bigger foundations to start pushing their guys to you, like Tunnel for Towers, like for the firefighters. Mike Kevin is real close to those guys that you just met. And then I
don't think that's probably the only thing I didn't mention is my one special project that I says kind of keeps me going is to do a pulmonary fibrosis study with 9/11 first responders for respiratory diseases and name it after my dad.
Yeah.
So that's definitely it's on the list. We only need probably about $2 million. So, it's not actually as much money as I thought it would be. I actually thought it would be a lot. I always just thought it would be a lot more to do the study. But it's funny, I got an extra fire lit under me when I went to the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation, and they're had this white paper out and telling people don't go to for-profit stem cell clinics and all these whole things. And I was like, oh, I cannot wait to send you my study with all of these 9/11 first responders, respiratory diseases that are just back living life again.
Well, I'm hoping that someone that's watching this just heard that and they're like, you know what? I got $2 million laying around. I could just pop it over to you to get that study. That'd be amazing.
And I feel like there's probably some 9/11 foundations that they're not able to heal them anymore. You know what I mean? And so are there ones that want to help heal their community? So I feel like there's probably some 9/11 funds out there already with funds that want to partner.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. It's just getting the word out there, right? Because it's still kind of a newer thing. Yeah. It's not really known to a lot of people. I mean, it kind of came on my radar just last year because it's someone I knew got stem cells done who wasn't a veteran, but it did a lot for him. So it's good stuff. Okay, well, yeah, even Riz messaged me. She said, you should probably start wrapping it up.
Yeah.
So we've been going at it for a minute. So this was great. Thank you so much for willing to do this, because this is really going to help the veteran community out a lot.
And I thank you for being such a champion in Miracle Hope. You really
appreciate
have been.
That. And thank you for being the first guest on the now Birdman
female guest
podcast.
Hey.
No longer John Howard show. So for everyone that did watch, thank you so much. Please, if you can, go donate to Miracle Hope. And if you can't, please just share the stories, bring awareness out there. Let's help them heal as many first responders and veterans out there. And that is the end of our episode. Thank you so much.
Let's go eat.
Boom. Hey everyone, I wanted to thank everyone that supported John Howard Art last year. We did a little over $27,000 for charity. Every dollar from the proceeds go to charity, but I want to showcase some of the art for this commercial. We got really good prints. We got t-shirts. We got big coffee mugs. We got little coffee mugs. Even got simple things that's just like stickers. I stick these in my water bottle. Cell phone cases. I know it may seem little, but every little thing goes to charity. Like I said, last year we did over $27,000 for charity. This is my way of showing you my happiness when I'm in nature, and I appreciate the support, and we'll keep it going. Thank you. Are you looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate here in Florida? If so, please contact me directly or contact my brokerage, John Howard Realty. I have an amazing team of people. Most of them are prior veterans or spouses of veterans. Everyone is very experienced, especially when it comes to real estate investing. As many of you know, short-term rentals, Airbnbs is how I got started in real estate, and I would like to help you do the same. Thank you.